Welcome to Drink Water Drive On, a show about real people, real life, and real talk. Today I sat down with Lacey, a fitness director, personal trainer, and prior Army physical therapist specialist. She shares her story, where she came from, how she got there, and how she continues to drive on. I hope you enjoy the show. Okay, I think I got it back.
Working.
Yeah. I had to change the pop filter because people said that it's covering up too much of your face.
That part?
Yeah. I was like, that's what I want. I don't want people to see my ugly mug.
I thought they normally used most of those. What's the significance between that versus this?
You can see more of your face. You're more exposed.
That's really it. Sound wise, no difference.
No different.
Oh. I don't know. These are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Feels like you're actually like, what is it, David Letterman?
That's going back a little bit.
Hell yeah. We're old.
Dang. I was Angel came in.
Yeah.
He came in a couple weeks ago, right? And I was like, man, if you ever want to work out, when I get off, we can work out.
Do a workout.
He said, yeah. So I did a workout with him. We did legs and shoulders, and he was like, man, that was awesome. So about a couple weeks later, we do it again, and then actually that happened last night.
Yeah.
But I've been so tired, like dead, like 3
You gotta
hours of
tell 'em.
sleep.
Yeah, you're telling them.
I was just like, oh my god, and I had schoolwork to do too, and so he comes on, and I'm thinking, I'm about to get out of here. He's like, man, he's in his face. He was like, oh man, I was looking forward to it.
Yep.
So guess
You
what?
stayed?
I stayed.
Yeah.
I worked out.
It kind of is a sign. I think they kind of, as much as we hold them accountable, they kind of hold us accountable.
Yeah, it was good. We worked out. But he was sitting there. He was like, I was telling him about everything I was doing, and because I let everybody know I'm interning, and he's like, well, how old are you?
He was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, I thought you was like in your early 30s.
Well, I
was
thought
like,
so too.
I was like, nope. I was like, I got a son in college.
Even Aiden, Riley, like Riley doesn't look like his age.
Right.
Aiden looks older, but
He's way younger.
yeah.
Not even 21 yet.
Yep. Which is the most surprising part, I think. But he's super knowledgeable, so
Yeah.
can't really take just age, I guess.
No, you can't. And he's been doing it with his mom for prior to this, so.
Yeah, and I think just the experience of
Even
growing
baseball.
up with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Athletics.
Yep.
Always plays a huge role.
Yeah. Definitely. I was talking to a buddy last night when I got home, and he was like, my wife said,
Oh, God.
no,
That comes with great assault.
he said, so my wife said, when are you going to have a woman on the show? And I was just like, funny enough. And he goes, yeah, he said, she said, because there's a sausage party over there. And I was like,
That is so funny.
it's true, but I'm working on it. But no, I told him, I was like, well, tell her to watch because
Yep.
I got Lacey coming on.
Yeah, I told some of my clients already. They're asking for the link, and I was like, well, we haven't done it yet, so.
Yeah. I think I'm going to post it tomorrow. I'm going to work on it. Usually about 24 hours or so.
That's why I told her. I said, I don't know. He does a quick turnaround, so I could probably send it probably before Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to get it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. And I'm glad you're here. I'm excited.
Thanks. Me too.
I wasn't sure.
Never done a podcast.
Me neither.
You have 5 more than me at least.
Yeah. But I'm always a little bit nervous to ask people if they want to come on. And one reason is because the location. It's like, you have it where?
No, like you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
And then the other thing is like, how do they really feel about it? Is it skeptical or like?
Well, I think a lot of people, when they're asked to do a podcast, okay, like, well, what are we going to talk about? What's the premise? Is it informational? Is it comedy? Is it, like, what's the why?
Yeah.
Because I guess that's how my brain works is why.
Yeah.
And not in a super questionable way all the time. It's just like, well, I like to know why I'm doing certain things,
Yeah.
or why you know, wanted a podcast, or why people do certain things. And I think that's just always how I've been taught for certain things is, well, why?
Yeah. I mean, and feel free to ask me if, if that question comes up or you want to know or whatever. I'm more willing to talk about it. I'll ask everybody else their questions. They can, fair enough, they can ask me my
Well,
questions.
yeah.
But what I was going to get to is like your story. What we're going to talk about is like, how did you get to where you are? But before we start there, I would do want to ask, like, can you tell everybody what your title is?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a director of fitness over at a local gym here in New Braunfels.
But you're more than that. You're also a personal trainer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hold quite a few titles,
You
but
do, and a lot of
yeah,
certifications.
yeah. I guess so. Yeah, sort
But
of.
we'll get there. We'll
Yeah,
get there. But you're also like my direct supervisor.
yeah, yeah. I'm a nice lady though.
Y'all don't let that pretty face fool
Yeah,
y'all.
it's a smile. But yeah, I'm director of fitness, and yeah, that's a title. But yeah, there's a lot of other things that
Yeah.
encompass that title, and making sure you're doing your job, they're doing their job, I'm doing my job,
Yeah.
the owner's doing his job. So it does more than just the title.
Yeah. And when you're pretty much managing a business, I know Jake manages the business, but you have a huge part in helping.
Yeah, he's, it's his baby,
Right.
right? Like that's his. I love that for him.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would want my own gym. I technically, there's just so much, even working with Jake and seeing everything that goes on the back end. Not for me. Not, I'll manage it.
Yeah.
I'll, teach people. I'll bring in, X, Y, and Z. I'll do what I can. But yeah, owning one, probably not. And I think that's why it works so well, is because Jake knows that side so well. He's very numbers oriented, business, making sure that thing stays afloat. And my job's everything else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to touch finances.
No.
I don't want to have anything to do with the billing. I don't want to have anything to do with that. But, I'll help people get to that point, or I'll help, figure things out. But yeah, I don't want to handle the finances. It's not my thing.
But you do a little bit of it.
It's sort of, yeah. Just enough.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start almost from the beginning. So you're from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You're born
Yeah.
and raised here.
Oh, yeah.
In this area?
No, close to, I guess, for most people, Bay City or Victoria. It's a very small town called, if you say it the white way, I guess, it's Palacios. If you say it correctly, it's Palacios.
Oh.
So, yeah, I grew up there. My mom grew up there. My dad, small town right next to it, and played athletics. And so I think my love for sports or fitness kind of rooted, well, competitiveness for sure. I grew up in a big family, so a lot of boys and a lot of competitiveness, whether it was so ghetto, but we used to just crawfish fight. But it literally came down to that, and that's, I had a bunch of cousins that were always looking to run against each other, wrestle, box. We're just always active.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, going into sports, it was the same thing. We were all pretty similar aged, or I saw my older cousins going through sports, and I wanted to do that. And, there was just a lot of role models, I guess, for fitness.
Okay.
But I did 6 sports in high school, did college soccer, went to Schreiner University to play. I had a friend that was there, so she helped me kind of get in, because coming from, Palacios, not many people go many places. Not to say that we can't.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a lot harder, I think.
Was this a country area?
Oh, yeah.
Very, very country?
Yeah.
And how many
well,
siblings did you have?
I have one older.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure a lot of sports in that area.
Oh, no.
No?
So
What did you play then? What sports did you play when you were younger, before high school?
It was
and
like
all that?
Boys and Girls Club
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, because we didn't. I mean, there was 4,000 people I think in my hometown, maybe
That's small.
5,000 at the
Yeah.
most, and I was related to like half. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, that was a big party. It's during the weekends, I
oh,
suppose,
kinda, yeah, kinda.
or like family events or holidays.
Yeah, my family when we would get together when we were younger. Yeah, it was a ton of us. So even then, sports, athletics, boxing in grandma's front yard, like
Bo-
yeah,
Boxing.
yeah.
Oh,
It my mother wouldn't let me specifically. She said I'd hurt someone.
I believe it.
So it was always, yeah, we were always fighting in my grandma's living room secretly with
Oh,
boxing gloves. But, all my uncles and cousins, they'd be outside boxing their friends and being active,
yeah.
I guess. So that's, like I said, that kind of fed into the competitive side. But once I got into high school, all my friends were athletic. And I think just our generation, we were more in depth with fitness, I
Yeah.
guess.
You was always active doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even just the girls that I had in high school, they were all super athletic. And, not every grade, especially from a small town, not every grade had all those really great athletes. But
Right.
I had, God, I mean, being a small town, we would shift from one sport to the other just because, everybody plays sports and
Yeah.
same kids. But athletic, like, I mean, we had at least, a handful of girls that were phenomenal. And so being competitive with them and continuing through high school, whether it was, I did volleyball, basketball, did track, ran cross country, powerlifting, and then I did soccer.
Good Lord.
And so I did what I could. There were some years,
Was there anything else you could do during the time frame?
they told me no. I tried. I tell you, I tried. I tried to do softball, and I thought I could try and squeeze in tennis. Couldn't do. Couldn't do. Because at one point, I think I was doing. I would wake up early. It'd be like 4:30, weightlifting or 5 a.m. weightlifting for powerlifting, and then I would go to school. Eighth period was track, and then I'd finish that, and then I'd go to soccer practice, and that would be till like 7 sometimes, just depending. So I was doing like 3 sports at once, and as much as I would have loved to do softball and go and do that, and be with my friends in another sport, it was just too hard.
Yeah.
It was just too hard.
That was
So
a
at one
lot.
point, yeah, and then expensive too. Now that I think about it, my poor parents. No, because I used to beg. You didn't have club, right? We didn't have competitive leagues for youth sports. It was just, like I said, boys and girls club stuff. So there were challenges as far as trying to get better or getting to the next level or learning, more in fitness. I had great coaches, but sometimes it was the no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
It's very different from fitness, what we do now. But, I learned a lot from them. I had great coaches. Couldn't imagine anyone better. Even one of them was my mom's coach. That's, she went through her coaching, and then, I did. And so it meant a lot to have those coaches and kind of like build from
Yeah.
there.
Did anyone in your family or your parents or anyone in your family, did they encourage you to play sports? It was just something you feel like it was just natural for what? Because everyone around you did it, so
Yeah.
it just came.
My parents were always supportive. Like
Yeah.
if I
But they wouldn't like push it like.
No. If anything, I could hear my mom yelling from the stands of like some of the things I could have done better. Now I look back, as a kid, it's probably annoying and,
Yeah.
like, oh, like leave me alone. I'm playing and
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your voice when I'm on the field. But, I look back now, like, she just wanted the best. She's definitely pushed me and definitely challenged me for sure. Like me and my mom are very similar. That's probably why we definitely butt heads sometimes, but it's for the better.
Yeah.
I know
I think
that.
all parents are like that. They just.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to my brother about this. I was like, you just want your kids to be better than you.
Yeah.
It's like for whatever reason, it's like you
Yeah.
could be so much better,
Mhm.
But
And that's what she would say all the time. I think at that point, lots of things were happening because no one else in my high school had gone to college for soccer. So I was the first one.
I was going to ask you about that. It's like, how did that transpired? Like, how did that happen? Was it something that you loved it so much you was really wanting it, or was it someone talked to you about?
Yeah.
Do you want to go to college for soccer?
Um, I'm trying to remember how it came. I mean, my first sport that I played was actually basketball, um, and soccer a little bit later. But basketball was probably the first thing I played. Um, my older cousins were really good, and it was always around, and that was kind of the sport that I guess I picked up really quickly. So it kind of was a battle between basketball and soccer. I think had grown to love soccer more over time. It was able to be a bit more physical. I was able to bump someone. Basketball is a little
Yeah.
bit softer, I guess. I'm very much an aggressive player, so I wanted the physical contact. I wanted the competitiveness. I wanted, a little bit more. So I guess as I got older, I really had to decide towards my senior year in high school if it was going to be basketball or soccer. I think, if I remember correctly, I think my senior year I actually did have to choose, and I had started both sports, but it just got to be too much.
Yeah.
With everything else too. So I think I ended up picking, soccer my senior year, which made me happy. I was sad because I wasn't playing all the sports like I normally
Yeah.
was. So I think that was the part that was sad.
Yeah. You seem like the type of person that you was trying to take advantage of every opportunity possible.
Anything. Oh, I pretty much always. Yeah, especially in the military too. Like
Yeah.
if they presented it, like hell yeah, let me
Yeah.
try it at least. But yeah, no, because my high school hadn't had anyone else, go for soccer. That was a great accomplishment. Like that felt great, and I think maybe one or two others have only gone still, and that's about, I graduated in
Yeah.
2009. So
Out of that school, huh?
so we only have like a handful. Like I said, it's really hard to get out of Palacios, I guess. If you're there, you're there.
I grew up in a very small town, also, really small. So
It's yeah, and I still have a lot of friends that live there,
yeah,
and they're doing well, they're doing great, their family's there, they love it. It's not for me,
yeah,
to stay and live. Like it's just for what I do, there's no
right,
opportunity, I guess,
yeah,
and if I did go back, I would have to probably open my own gym. And that's, like I said, it's not really my dream. I'd rather do the other back end stuff. I don't want to work with the people. I don't want to have to think about the financial side, the four walls,
yeah.
and the equipment. I mean, that's not for me.
Dawson has said something similar to where
Yeah.
about where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
He just there's not a whole lot you can do there. So I understand, and like I said, I'm from a small town too,
Yeah.
and but your family's there. That's what makes it
Mm-hmm.
hard for people to get out of there. It's like family. You get close to your family, and it's like you want to be
Yeah.
there. You want to be supportive of them. You want to, help take care of whoever, But
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
And that's how my mom was supportive in, sports clearly, like I said, but, in going and seeing and doing and experiencing, whatever I could,
Yeah.
as long as I do it safely, I guess,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if I don't know had I not joined the army, had I not ever left Louisiana,
yeah.
to be honest with you.
Hmm.
So
And I think that was a big portion too, because I mean, I went after college, but it was just, I was getting to the end of it and I was like, okay, what do I do now?
yeah.
But
What I want to ask you about college, and what was your major that you went to?
well, I started was it I forgot what it's called. Think they called it sport management
Mm-hmm.
over at Shriner. Did that for I think the first semester or two, and then it just didn't seem like it was for me. I loved, the sports talk. It did
Yeah.
encompass, that, but it just I don't think it fulfilled what I was looking for. So I ended up changing to graphic design major,
Oh, okay.
which sounds completely opposite.
I did not know this.
Yeah. So, because I love drawing, anything art based, I'll draw. I love ceramics, pottery, I'm very artistic, but I like to keep that as a hobby. And I learned that
Yeah.
after switching to graphic design, because I wanted to go through, I think, animation. And I wanted to keep it a hobby. I didn't want it to get burnt out. I didn't want to lose what I
I got you.
loved.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense.
And I loved the classes I did. I loved that major, but I just, in my head, I was like, okay, well, thinking future wise, what am I going to do with it?
Right.
Knowing growing up in a very advanced technology, I guess, era.
Well, it was getting there.
Yeah.
It was starting to take off.
And so seeing, I think, what could happen in the future, what would I do with what I wanted, I guess, with that degree and what I could do. I just didn't see as much opportunity as I did in, probably human anatomy or fitness or coaching, because I thought of athletic training. I thought about, just personal training, and then physical therapy came about.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the route that I started to look more in depth at, I think, my junior year after I went from graphic design. So I switched again to the exercise science department. And then I stuck with that because I think as soon as I started taking those classes, it made a world of a difference in how intrigued I was and what I wanted to learn. And it didn't feel like a chore. It didn't feel like I was studying. I was actually truly intrigued of the human body and anatomy and physiology. So that felt normal. Like it felt natural, I guess.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you're also playing soccer during this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you play all 4 years?
I did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think my junior year I picked up captain.
Did your, after you switched and then your junior started, what was it called? I'm sorry.
Oh, exercise. Yeah. From graphic design to exercise science.
Yeah. So when you got into exercise science and then in your junior, you still have, a little while left of playing soccer. Did any of the classes start to like change your mindset and how you started training? Because you went from powerlifting in high school. I'm sure you didn't lose that.
No. And especially
And how many of your friends were you coaching during this time? I'm sure you were already starting coaching, just didn't realize it.
Kinda. Some of them would work out with me, but then they would quickly stop. And I think I even caught one friend. She was hiding in a box after a leg day because I couldn't find her. And I was like, well, where is she? So I went into one of the rooms and she was in one of the wooden jump boxes where they have like the little handles so you can put your hands in. I could see her eyes poking out. And I was like, are you really hiding? And she's like, I'm done. And it was like, okay. But I had built up over time, and my powerlifting coach was phenomenal. I think he's still at my high school. He left and then went back, but he was a phenomenal coach. So, I mean, he definitely helped me with that mindset of, proper lifting. I mean, I think my freshman year with the coach we had, I think I did like a 285 squat. There's no way anymore. But I was straight out of powerlifting. We were doing, it was definitely one of those grinded out type things. And I probably wasn't hitting full depth, but just thinking back and having 285 on the bar and even just do it somewhat. Yeah. Maybe not full depth like I was powerlifting, but I just kind of think
probably a $110, maybe.
Yeah.
$105.
Yeah.
At 285.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. I think I got pretty low in my weight class. I think I tried to get to the 123s, but I just couldn't lose anymore. So I stayed I think it was in the 132s. And I think I finished in 10th place or something like that, top 10 or top 20. But we had one girl on my high school. She was scary, shorter than me, solid. Like she didn't look like it. And that's the cool part about fitness. She didn't look like it.
Yeah.
But man, she was scary, strong. And now her son's in powerlifting and he's doing scary things too. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Because he came from her, but
that's crazy how the human body, what it can do.
Oh yeah. And especially at that age.
Yeah.
Like I look back and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Like
how?
We have
my question is always like how?
Yeah.
Like, I'm fascinated, with people as well being able to do some things you think there's no way. I guess they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at the kids now. I think I've seen at least a couple kids from think it was Louisiana was one of them. The past couple of days, I think this kid did a like 800-pound squat. Set a world, I think it not a world record, but a state record. I think in Louisiana.
I'd have to check it out.
Yeah, gnarly. I wasn't seeing 800 pounds, back then, but we had one guy that was pretty close.
Yeah.
And then same thing, like, you touch his arm and, you get a little bit of give. This guy had no give. It's just rock.
Wow.
It's like touching metal.
Well, what did they do spending their time to get to that point? That's got to be a little bit of genetics.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. I mean, he was a farm boy for sure.
Yeah.
The farm bred kids out in the country, they're different. So
he wasn't non-GMO, was he?
Probably not. No, but he was. I mean, he was a good athlete too. So him and his brother, and I think looking back, because I had so many great examples around me of fitness or competitiveness, and it kind of feeds into all that. But I mean, that guy was solid.
Yeah.
But the kids now, they're lifting insanely heavy and.
Do you ever notice, like I've noticed this before, like growing up over the years, is that it almost seems like every other generation or so, kids are bigger than whenever, like, say when I was in high school, I look back and like, how are the kids so much? My son's bigger than me. Grew taller than me, and he can put on weight. And it's like, how come I didn't get that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm jealous of that.
It is crazy, Yeah, we have better tools for measurement, of activity, or different specialized tools for making you run faster, making you lift heavier. There's so much more now than when we were younger.
Yeah, but I'm also saying, like, as far as like their growth, they're just
and you think about nutritional wise too, what we have now versus what we had back then.
Yeah,
right. Like
true.
Now they're thinking protein, carbs, fats. We weren't really thinking that way back then. And partly because nobody was really talking about it like we do today.
Yeah.
So these kids, they're getting it all, right? Like they're getting information overload almost.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we see such a big uptick in, you stronger athletes at a younger age, or, they're quicker, faster. Their movements are insane.
They're already... There's high schoolers in some states allow NIL for high schoolers. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They do. So it's like, and it's not illegal.
I think it's by state, right?
Yeah, there's certain states that allow it, which is
it's
starting way early.
Yeah.
But going back to your college and exercise science, and you graduate with that. What happens after that? What do you do after that? And this is what year, if you care to share?
This is where it gets a little crazy, because I ended up, my path wasn't like just straight to the military type thing.
That's what I was trying to get at, to see what happened.
It's all over.
I
didn't technically graduate with my class, because I was going to stay at Schreiner an extra semester.
Okay.
So I could have, like, I finished my degree plan and everything, but I wanted to stay a little bit longer because I had physical therapy school in mind at that moment. So I was like, well, I might as well stay a little bit, knock out some prerequisites, and then, I'll graduate in the next summer. I think it was going to be Christmas, right? Because, a little bit longer. So I remember, I went to graduation, saw my friends, they got there, they got to walk, all that. So that was the sad part. So I missed that. But my plan, the summer before, I was doing an internship for physical therapy for school too, but partly just because I need internship hours for PT. But I moved to Galveston for the summer prior. I was doing hours at a burn center for children, so the Shriners Hospital, and then I did hours at a neurological rehab, the Transitional Learning Center. So I was doing those, and I was taking organic chemistry and I think another class, I can't remember, medical terminology. So I was doing all that in the summer before my senior year. Loved it. learned a lot. Very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Both centers, the burn center for children, definitely emotionally hard, right? And just having to see what young kids go through at that
Yeah,
age.
I was going to say that was the burn center is like it kind of threw me. You went for physical therapy, but you're doing burn
So
center. But
that's
it is
but the
physical
physical,
therapy.
yeah, the
Yeah.
physical therapy clinic in the
Right.
burn center. And so
Got it.
that's and you won't see that everywhere,
Right.
like burn centers for even just, not just kids, but it is a very niche part of PT, I guess.
I would say.
So that was my first shadowing in physical therapy. So that and the neurological. And the burn center for children, like I said, definitely emotionally hard because you're seeing toddlers
I
that
couldn't imagine.
just don't look
Yeah.
like toddlers.
Right.
I think the one that stuck out the most, there was actually a handful, everyone stuck out, but it's just simple things. And it put a lot into perspective, I think, being there and knowing that. And so that was a big reason why I went back the next summer. But she was just a little girl, and she was from Mexico and got burned. I guess her uncle or father or someone was trying to get rid of a bush or something in their yard. And so doused it in gasoline, get it light on fire, let it burn. Well, I guess the wind caught it,
Mm-hmm.
and then it caught the little girl, and she got engulfed in the flames. I think she was 1.5 or maybe 2
Wow.
at the point. And then I guess, they really weren't taught stop, drop, roll, all these
Right.
things. So I know her mom, her hands were burned from trying to
Trying to
put
get.
her out. So her mom, her hands were burned. The little girl, she had, I want to say, it's about 60% body burns, 70%. It was on her face and her hands. And, it's seeing that's really hard.
Yeah. I could not do it.
It's first day freaked me out. Not in a sense of like, just because of how it damages the skin, but it just, the things they have to endure,
Yeah.
the looks that people would have to give them. Because I can only imagine, right? Like, you don't look.
Yeah. You're going to be some type of deformity.
Yeah. And so I think we'll really put it, just seeing her walk around, just playing and happy and still living,
Yeah.
she would we would try to get her to use her hands, and they would give her little Hershey's Kisses because she would have to open with her fingers because her fingers
Right.
she couldn't bend, she couldn't really grasp her digits were just
Yeah.
she's locked out, full of wraps too, so it was pretty hard. But to get her to use functionality, we would give her those little Hershey's Kisses, and she knew I was new, and she only spoke Spanish. And so she would come up to me and she'd like tap me on the leg. She was, really little. She'd tap me on the leg. And then she'd have a little Hershey's Kiss in her hand. And then she'd be like just try to like get me to do it for her. And I said, I can't do it for you. But I would help her like a little
Start
bit.
it.
Yeah, start it. But just even like that change, from me being like, I'm not scared or
Right.
to work with them, but
Right.
you're just sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, they put a lot into perspective.
Yeah, I get it. You don't, because they're not going to feel sad for themselves.
Mm-mm.
You
And
know.
she didn't know. She's only 2.
Right.
She had no idea.
But I'm sure if someone much older too is like, I don't want you to be sad for me, but I do need your help. If it's physical therapy or whatnot. And I mean, that's cool that you kind of like that switched for you.
Oh, instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm here to help, and I'm gonna help her get through to have the best life possible.
Yeah, and even just those small things, because you want to make it fun for her.
Right.
She's 2 years old. She knows she went through something traumatic, but she doesn't know. She hasn't really processed anything.
Yeah.
She's a child. She's a baby, and so we would have to try and make things fun. So we would build like little obstacle courses or like little tunnels so they could walk, use their hands, knees, crawl, stand up, sit down. So it was kind of like you were just creating little like play areas, and
Yeah.
what we would consider, just regular movements, they were actual workouts for
Yeah.
him. So, I would go and do hours there, and then I'd go to the neurological center, and it was very different. I went from working with children who were anywhere from 10% body burn all the way up to maybe 80% body burn, I think was the worst I had seen. And then going to a neurological rehab, there was one guy in there, he'd fallen off a rig 50 feet, I think, in
Ooh.
there, survived, right? Luckily. Traumatic brain injury. He'd been there for, I want to say, about 4 years. And he was a hard worker. Like, he would get himself to the lat pull down and do lat pull downs. He took him, I think, almost 3-4 years to work up to, and this is the crazy part because to us it doesn't sound like much, but it took him almost 3 years to work up to, I want to say, maybe 20-30 steps in an assisted walker, like an
Yeah.
upright assisted walker. I think I had just gotten there, and so it was a huge thing. He'd been there the longest. That was something he'd worked for years, and it was, like I said, just as simple as like walking like 20 steps, 25 steps.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So two very different things. So then, when I was looking at graduating, I didn't really want to just yet. I wanted to stay and do those classes, but during that break, I was going to go back to Shriners Burn Center and then back to Transitional Learning Center. And then I was going to do an aquatic therapy. So I was going to do all those, but guess where I walked into? The recruiter
Yeah, you went to
station.
the wrong door.
Kind of, but kind of not. I got really lucky. And this is where I always advocate for, I guess, my MOS. I can't really talk about anybody else's
Right.
experience or, how they got to it. But I will say the recruiters that I had, very different. Because I've met some recruiters, right, over time. You always see the ones that go to the school and, you can kind of sense, or at least hope, we can kind of sense who's shitbaggy and who's not.
What was the mindset before you walked into the recruiter's office? Like, what on that particular time you're like, what made you like, I'm just gonna walk into this door. I'm going to the Army recruiter office.
Well, so I had heard about the Army Baylor physical therapy
Oh,
program
okay.
when I was finishing my senior year at Shriner. And so that was in the back of my head. Like,
Okay.
how do I get there?
I got you.
And so I thought, well, we could just go into the recruiter station because we were in Lake Jackson. We would just go there, just ask, see what do you have to do to get in, or is that something different? Like, what's the deal with it? So we went in and I think there was like 2 or 3 recruiters in there, maybe 4 at the same time, but I think 2 or 3 of them I was talking to, and they were really cool, straightforward. I hit, hey, I'm looking for a physical therapy specific. What are the options? Like, I'm not here just to sign anything type deal. And all we did was really just get information. I think my mom was crying as we walked out the door. I was like, we haven't even said anything yet. Like, all we did was just ask.
Yeah.
But, she was scared. My
Yeah.
dad was Navy, so for
Okay.
him, he was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's like, hell no.
Okay.
So 2 different sides of the spectrum. My mom, I had said something about it before going to college, and she was like, no, we're never going to talk about it again. I said, okay. Brought it up again,
Yeah.
like 4 years later. But it was, I think, because there was more of a purpose behind it. And, of course, she's scared, right? Like, I'm the baby, and
Yeah.
probably doesn't want me to do anything military wise.
Most moms are probably like that.
Yeah, so she was scared. She cried walking out the door as soon as we got in the car, and I was like, we didn't even sign anything. Like, all we did was just ask. And it was really just questions. 2 weeks later, I went back in and I think I signed. But she, at that point, she mulled it over. She chewed on it. She thought, and the big reason, like I said, we told them, I'm not signing anything
Right.
unless it says physical therapy specialist, is what it was called for 68 Foxtrot, unless it says physical therapy specialist. And at one point, because it was so new, I was to go through the second class.
Wow.
I had to have my recruiters call up when I was at MEPS. I literally snuck my phone into the bathroom and I was like, they're telling me it's not an option. I'm I don't know what to do. Like, they're saying they can't get me that job. So my recruiter, I'm like sitting in the bathroom, not supposed to have my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like texting the recruiter, like, what do I do? So he's like, hold on. He's like calling branch. He's like calling all these like higher ups. I have someone there like that's doing physical therapy. Yeah, it's not showing up yet because I think it was like 7 months prior to it
Wow.
actually like launching, 6 7 months. So I had a 6 month delay. So it was probably about 7 months out. And so he was able to pull some strings, and my paperwork said physical therapy specialist on
That's
it.
crazy.
So it worked out.
The
That man, that recruiter is dope.
Yeah, I
I can't
mean,
remember his name. I hate it, but there's about three of them. But the main one, the I guess he was in charge of
yeah.
the recruiting station there in Lake Jackson. But he did the thing.
Yeah.
He made sure it happened.
That's crazy because like how many people would even have thought to do what you did? Or they would have been like, well,
And, I
shit.
really had to dig a little bit when I was there, and I think you just depending on how you walk into the recruiting station,
Yeah.
like whatever energy you give off, like they'll kind of give in a way. But I went in, I told them what I'm looking for, what I want to do. If it
Right.
doesn't work, I'm not signing.
I mean, at maps, like,
Hmm.
because
Oh, that too.
I
Yeah.
would have been like,
Hmm.
I
I
guess
almost signed for medic because
that's
I
what I'm
was about to
that's what
get
I'm
flustered.
saying. Like, I probably would have ended up just signing for.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well, I
so
did look
good
at my
on
mom,
you.
and she was like,
Oh,
"No."
she was there
Yeah,
during
they were
this
kind of
time.
in the waiting
Really?
area.
Oh,
Yeah, my parents. Oh, my parents came up. They were in there, like
oh,
especially because I was supposed to swear in. Like my paperwork was supposed to be
yeah,
like that day, um, the swear in thing, like all that. But they were having that hard time, so it was kind of like I was back and forth. Like I was able to, go do all my evals, and then I had a little bit of time, so I was telling my mom like it's not coming up, and I think, for her, she was like, nope.
yeah.
If it doesn't
So
say you're
get your
not,
ass in the
and in
car.
my head I was like, I'm about to sign for
Well,
medic, but like I don't.
your mom's about to yank you out of there.
No, for sure. I mean, she definitely couldn't because,
Yeah,
and I think the medic part I would have enjoyed just because it would have kept me around, the medical side, and I would
yeah,
have learned a lot, and because I'm very much interested in, helping out anyway
yeah,
medically, I guess. 'Cause I think it's just fascinating the human body,
yep.
but yeah, that I had a little bit of a delay.
But you got
s-
what
yeah.
you wanted,
Hmm.
which is
I had
good.
6 months delay, and then yeah, that's so I unenrolled from Shriner and got my completed degree plan. So I technically didn't walk. I just showed up, grabbed my
Diploma.
diploma from the office, and I drove home. And my mom was crying, and I think that moment also said a lot because not many people in my family have a degree.
Yeah.
There's still probably one of the only ones. Um, so I know she was really proud in that moment.
Right.
Hmm.
You can always go back, get your
Yeah. Oh,
master's.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think maybe if it, maybe if let's say I needed it as a requirement, I would not mind. That's more knowledge for me.
You do
I
it
wouldn't.
online.
Yeah,
You do what
I
I do.
wouldn't mind, but I really
Just not in the minds.
paying
Yeah.
X amount of money. No.
You got the GI Bill.
I will say, I have learned more outside of textbooks than I have in textbooks.
Yeah.
Not to say that, that didn't shape or start the knowledge, but
Right. Me being on the tail end of school. Yeah, I agree with what you just said. However, there are some things I learned that help shape
oh yeah.
my perspective on things, and it helped give me more confidence that I'm
Mm-hmm.
because passing those classes is not easy. Doing the
No.
work is not easy.
Nope.
You know, you have to set around your own time to make sure you get things done.
Oh yeah.
I mean, are there ways to do it and make it easy? Yeah. Do I retain everything? No.
Mm-hmm.
But the confidence and the skill set that you get, you know, that's what I got from school. Such,
Oh yeah. Like, because I finished, Shriner, and then I had 6 months delay. Even when I was in my active duty, after all that, like I did evening classes, so I'd work all day. I think it was start 5 6 a.m. Sometimes in the summer it was 5 a.m. But early start time all the way up until about 5 p.m. Then I'd go 30 minutes in Jersey. So from
That's
New York
that's
to
why that's
Jersey,
what I was about to
it's
ask you. It's like
yeah.
where's the school at? Where's I mean not the school.
Well,
So where's the your AIT?
AIT, yeah,
What do
I
they
think it's
call it now?
AIT.
Yes, AIT. Well,
They've
we went
changed
to,
it.
but
Yeah, I had a different.
IET or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, after the 6 month delay, and I leave. I do basic. I go to Fort Sam. I think it was total. My AIT total was 33 weeks. I was there a little bit longer because there was like a little bit of a delay. We had to
Yeah.
wait for one class,
Right.
the class above us, to kind of like switch. So we're kind of like overlapped in a
Yeah.
way.
You was on that phase 5+ badge.
Kind of, man, I hated those things. God, that was the worst.
Did y'all had
Flashbacks.
those too
I was even traumatized.
with the orange?
Yeah, I had to walk
Did
around
you?
with someone, but no, we had to have someone for
You was
the
in a class
first.
first or?
I was, but you know how long
Ah,
it takes. You know how long it took for us, because at this point they had such strict rules. 8 weeks until you could go off base,
really?
and I said,
Y'all didn't have? Did y'all have color badges? We had
"Mm-hmm.
color badges.
Yep."
Yeah,
They had the color
yellow and
badges, the
orange and
big fake
green.
ranks,
Yeah,
yeah, all
yeah,
that dumb stuff.
yeah,
I mean, I get it. I look back, of course, I get it. I
yeah. They're
understand.
trying to, get us in prepared.
Yeah, it was interesting, but
Yeah,
it was about 33 weeks. I think I had the first week we couldn't do anything yet because we couldn't start, and then we did 4 weeks of intro to basic army medicine, so 4 weeks of IBAM, and then we went into just the physical therapy side of things, and then the last 10 weeks is clinicals. Either you stay there, but there's a certain number of slots in certain
okay.
areas. So I finished third in my class, and I was able to pick third on the list.
Wow.
So, and honestly, luckily, because I had schooling prior of just exercise science, anatomy, physiology, because those that didn't have prior experience in that topic struggled. Not
Yeah,
some people really excelled, but a lot of people really struggled. And so I was grateful to have that background degree. I finished third, and I was able to pick my AIT clinical rotation site. West Point had one slot, and the first guy I think picked Hawaii, because I think there's two slots or one slot at Hawaii. A lot of places that were really cool only had like one spot that
yeah.
you could go. So like one person's going.
That
So
was my first duty station.
I wish I wish, but he went. I think he picked Hawaii. The second guy, he had mentioned something about West Point, and at this point, my cousin was a cadet at West Point. I think it was his freshman year or sophomore year, which they have different names. It's like cow year and plebe year and all these things, but so he was a sophomore, and I look at the guy that's ahead of me, and I was like, "Don't you dare!" And I was like, because I had talked about it, I was like, "Oh, like that'd be sick. Like I would love to go," and I couldn't fault him for it. Like
Yeah,
if you wanted that experience, I couldn't really be mad. I was still gonna be mad, but
yeah,
I couldn't really be mad because hello, it's West Point. So he didn't pick it. I think he ended up staying here at Fort Sam. In my head, I was like, dumb.
yeah,
But, not to say, he wasn't going to learn, because, I mean, Fort Sam has so many opportunities, like the Center for the Intrepid, like all those. And because we were already here and I had already touched bases in those, like they sent us around and we got shadowing
mhm,
through there. So in my head, I was like, well, I've already been here, done that. So I want to go do something else. So I picked West Point, and I went for 10 weeks. And then even at that, that's a whole crazy story of how I ended up staying there, because I wasn't even supposed to stay there
yeah,
either. But that location, I think that's probably the most influential place I've ever been. As far as just what I know now, because they had all these physical therapists there studying to get their sports PhD. So it was a little extra that active duty physical therapist, whether you're Army, Navy, Coast Guard, whatnot, like you could go and apply for that program and get your sports PhD, in addition, right? Like the Army's paying for it, or, the military's paying for it, whatever branch you are. But West Point has a clinic where it's all cadets and athletes, and, get some active duty military, but it's mainly for cadets. And so I was put in there, but I did hours at the hospital location and between Arvin. So I had back and forth, and I was supposed to go actually to Fort Huachuca.
That's in Washington, right?
No, it's Arizona.
Arizona. Oh,
yeah, that's the
yeah.
I think it was the intelligence.
I was thinking Fort Lewis. Sorry.
Like the whole nerdy part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have picked Lewis over that. But so I finished my 10 weeks, and I'm supposed to go to Fort Huachuca. But this is where it gets crazy. This is where I tell people, like, my path wasn't just like I got from there to here. Like, it's very much like I got here, and then it's there, and then here, and then it's over here, and then I end up here. But so I finished my 10 weeks, and even before this, I had known about Fort Huachuca, but the physical therapist who was in charge, and a couple of the other ones, they were wanting to know if I could stay.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can ask my branch manager. Call. And I get told yes, that, yeah, why not? And I don't know if this first conversation was with, I remember this lady's name because she hates me, Miss Phillips. I remember her voice to this day. She was like your branch manager. She's
branch
the one
manager. Yeah.
She kind of decided where you went, or at least mine did, right? And so she wasn't there that day. So I think who I talked to, it was a command sergeant major. And so I was like, okay, they told me yes, they're going to change my orders, because the tech that was there at the moment, he was on his way out. And so they didn't have anyone to fill in. So in my head, I was like, too easy, right? Like 1 + 1 equals 2.
Exactly.
Big Army does not do that, right? So I think a week later, Miss Phillips gets wind of whatever conversation. She calls me, tells me, no, you're not staying. You're going to Fort Huachuca. Okay. I call back again because something had happened. I get told, yes, you're staying. So I think it was about 4 or 5 times that I was told yes and no. And it was kind of in between like 2 people, but one person's telling me yes, one person's telling me no. So I'm confused.
Yeah.
And so on the day that I was supposed to be in Fort Huachuca, I get a call, and it was like, well, where are you? And I was like, what do you mean? They told me I could stay. So I had already come home, got my stuff, drove up back to West Point, all my stuff, because they told me I could stay. That was like one of the last things I heard. Drove all the way back up there. Like, it was snowing at this point. Like, so I made a trek, right? And all my stuff with me.
Did you have orders or anything?
Well,
you was waiting on orders.
Yeah, well, because the sergeant major, whoever I was talking to, he was telling me yes.
Yeah.
He was saying yes. She was saying no.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. He was like, yeah, we're gonna print. We're gonna make sure it's gonna change. And so I had always been checking like the website, and it never changed. But he kept telling me on the other end that it's gonna happen. So I'm telling my officer, and that's in charge of me, like, yep, they said I could. And he was ecstatic, right? Because he wanted me to stay, and I wanted to stay, and it made sense because, Specialist Cotton was leaving, and it sounded right. Well, it was not right to Miss Phillips, and she gave me an earful, and she was like, you're not staying, and that's it, and these are your options. And it was Fort Sill. So I said, hell no. And then it was Alaska. So I said, hell yeah, I'd rather pick that than Fort Sill.
Right.
Like, if I'm going to be in the cold, send me somewhere that's nice. Send me, something that I haven't seen before.
Right.
Something that I'm not going to get bored of. Yeah, sure, this is going to be close to home. But and I think I told my mom that they told me I was going to Alaska. So sorry, Mom. I think I had purposely, because I didn't want to go to Oklahoma. If I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
I'll do outdoor fishing. I'll see an hour of daylight. Like, there's more opportunity there, I guess, for experience in Oklahoma. So that's my orders. Pops up on the website instantly because, like I said, Miss Phillips hates me. And I'm sad, right? My officer's sad. They're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? We're about to lose 2, and you're about to get sent to Alaska. Like, the movers are coming. Like, they're sending, like, everything was already ordered. Like, they're coming to get my stuff in 2 days. And so I guess, I don't know if he told me prior, but I came into the office the next morning or a couple days later, maybe a day later, but he's like, hey, just come talk to me. He's very soft spoken. Like Colonel Goss, he was probably the one that shaped my thought process, my knowledge. Like he really helped me out as far as like learning physical therapy. So he was a huge mentor, but I think he was like, yeah, like let's chat about it. And so he was like, it just didn't really sit right with me that she said no. And so I kind of called her on my own. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, like she hates me even more.
Yeah. Now you're going to Oklahoma.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And I was kind of worried, but he was like, and she said you could stay. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, so all I needed was
a colonel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To call. And I get it,
Yeah.
like, they're going to say,
yeah, because our branch managers are enlisted like we are.
Well, I think she was a civilian.
Oh, she was a civilian.
She was a civilian.
Oh, my branch manager.
So she didn't care too much.
My branch manager was a sergeant first class, and then he made master sergeant during that time. He was cool as shit.
Yeah, I don't. So. I'm pretty sure she was a civilian.
Oh.
So she was a lovely lady.
Yeah.
Can you angle? As soon as.
Sorry. Yeah. You can angle it. You can move it. You need to.
This way.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So he had called and that changed, and so in my head I was like, oh sweet, like I'm in. And honestly, like that was really it. It was just him calling, I guess, and asking, and it happened. I stayed there for 3 years, and like I said, that shaped what I know now. I was always asking questions. Colonel Goss was always willing to teach, and even when I wasn't asking questions, still telling me why we're doing this or why this is happening, or if we just had such a high volume as well that I was seeing, I don't know how many different types of injuries, and a lot of them were sport injuries, but there was about 4,000 cadets, and we were a walk-in clinic, and you got sick call in the morning, and then you got your regular patients, and then you got sick call again in the afternoon, and so I was seeing, God, short day or slow day was probably like 30.
That's a lot of people.
But it made me, like multitask.
Yeah.
So if I had because we were a walk-in clinic as far as like treatment too, so cadets would just come in when they could. So everybody and their mom could come in at the same time, and I'd have to be like, all right, let's get you set up here. Let's do this. And I'd probably have like 5-6 people that I'm like working with, just because it's me, and then we got another tech, thankfully, like not too long after. So he was great. He helped out, like, he was like a brother. So it was just, we were able to knock out so many patients, treatments. He was super knowledgeable. I think he was from Louisiana too, actually. Real thick Cajun accent. Like he was funny, like, yeah. But he was super smart.
Yeah.
Now he ended up going to selection.
Okay.
So he was in it.
Yeah.
Like he was well versed in anatomy. He had prior experience with exercise science, stuff like that. So I got really lucky having, someone with me that was just is equally as invested.
Yeah.
Because if I had someone that wasn't, it would have made it very different. So it was easy, if like he wanted to go to certain schools. Okay, I cover the clinic. You go to that school, and then we'd switch, right? Or like air assault came about, and I was like, you go first. I'll cover the clinic, and then we'll switch.
Yeah.
And so we did that. So we both were able to do air assault. Like he was trying to do all that he could.
Right. Especially for selection.
Go knock yourself out. Like, I want to do certain schools, but I won't do, certain ones. It's whatever. Like, that's your thing. Like,
right.
Cool. I'll cover down because we can't both be gone. Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's only 2 techs, and in a walk-in clinic, you just can't really make that work. And all the PTs, like I said, they're there to get their sports PhD. So they're doing, God, I forgot. I think it was like 400 plus hours of shadowing just athletic teams,
yeah,
as well as their clinic hours, their patient load, and family. And so they were ran ragged, right? Like, so if I could help, I'd help.
Right.
Like, if I could do something, I'd do something. If I could learn something to make it easier. And then I think that's just, even after, like, I have to look back and, think about athletics, I think that was just instilled, like, ethic wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and be a sack of shit if the place is on fire, or if someone needs help. And just because it was so high volume, but also it was just very interesting to see all the different injuries and the types of people. And like the cadets were cool too, they were
Yeah.
going through their college experience. But it's very different than what I had college experience versus majority of the people. And just on top of their classes, they were doing military trainings left and
Yeah.
right. And if they're, classes, military training, and if they're an NCAA athlete, I think the average, there was something that came out, the average sleep that a West Point cadet got was about 4 hours.
That's about what I'm getting right now.
Yeah. And so, for them, like, they're ran ragged, they're doing all that. And for active duty, we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's normal. But to them, that's their college experience.
Which are not experienced very much.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but I got it. Like, if I would have known about West Point, I probably would have tried. I didn't really know about it, but like I probably would have tried.
Yeah,
it was. You learn so much about just history and tradition of the Army,
mm-hmm.
but the cadets, you learn from them, like as patients, where they're from, what they're doing, and even just other, active duty soldiers. But you just learned a lot, right? Like we had orthopedics. They would come in every Friday, so I would watch orthopedic surgeons and physical therapists evaluate treatment-wise, diagnoses, like all this stuff. So I'm just sitting there just...
Yeah, you're able to, like, take in a lot and...
I just
from
absorb.
different, I would say, different parts of the anatomy,
It was because of that.
Yeah.
Like and because of the orthopedic surgeons, I asked a lot of my friends that went through physical therapy, AIT, or even just civilian side, like things, experiences they've been through. And I got really lucky as far as the things that I got to see and experience, or, the classes and so forth. But my experience was way different than anyone else's.
Right.
And mainly just, I will say, just because West Point was a different setup than most places. It's a very unique setting.
Yeah.
For even just fit. The athletic trainers are great. The staff, the civilian athletic trainers, right, that were in the clinics next to us, because we would share like a therapy room, I guess.
Okay.
So we had like a Arvin physical therapy clinic, a big little weight room in the middle, athletic trainers on the other side, and then athletic trainers on the other side of this wall. So I was surrounded by just a world of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like so many people, all ages too.
And how long did you do this for?
At West Point?
Yeah, because you did your rotation from AIT right there, and then you stayed there.
Yeah, so I did Fort Sam for the 23-ish weeks, 24-ish weeks, and then the last 10 weeks of the 33 total are at another location. So that I think I got to West Point September 2014, something like that. And then stayed up until 2017. I think November 2017.
And the Army, so when you graduate AIT, your certification is a 68 Foxtrot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
physical therapy specialist is what we're called.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then you did your first tour, your first duty station at West Point.
Mm-hmm.
And how many years or how long was that?
Yeah, it's ending of 2014, or I guess September 2014. And then you had about 60 days of leave built up. So I think I left November 2017. So I took about a whole month off before I just transitioned to civilian.
So you decided to get out the Army?
I did. Well, there were a lot of other factors.
But let me ask, but you did deploy during this time?
No, I didn't deploy until March 2021. And then I came back January 2022. And then I found Hickson
so
late February.
Who did you deploy with? So I don't want to get too far ahead. So after your time in West Point, start from there.
Finishing that. I moved to like Oakland, Emeryville, California.
So. And this is another duty station?
No. I just got out. I finished active duty. all of the options for reenlistment.
I guess I'm asking is like your deployment. Who was you
Well, that
with?
went reserves.
Ah,
Yeah. So
that's where I'm getting mixed
yeah.
up at. Okay,
So I finished active duty, and then you automatically get into the IRR, right?
right.
So I had 4 active, 4 IRR,
Hmm.
and I think it was about a year into the IRR, and I was like, I
I'm gonna let people know
really
that inactive, ready, reserve, right?
individual ready reserve, but I
Individual,
always
ready,
say
reserve.
inactive. Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Oh, I don't know why I think. Okay, individual,
It's
ready,
pretty,
reserve.
yeah, I think
Okay.
it's interchangeable. But yeah, I think I was about a year in, and I was coaching at a strength and conditioning style gym over in Oakland called Urban Fitness and
How'd you get
Athletics,
to
or not?
California? What made you go to California?
Oh, actually, it was just Urban Fitness. I don't think we had the athletics part, mixing it.
What
But
made you What made you go to California?
prior relationship
Okay.
mainly. And not that I didn't want to go. It was like I said,
I mean,
I
I
took
lived in California in San Jose, and the weather there is beautiful.
yeah. So San Jose was probably what, an hour and a
Way.
hour away from where I lived, and so maybe 2, I
Where's this
think.
at?
Because I lived in Oakland
Oh,
area,
okay. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it wasn't
about
too
about
far.
2.
And I liked it. It was just really expensive.
Yeah.
Um, and I look back, and as much as I would love to say, yeah, I should have stayed active duty, I just don't know, right? Like I would love to be like, well, what if? But I'm happy with how things played out
Mm-hmm.
and how I ended up, the timing of how I got to deployment and when and where. That wouldn't have been possible if I stayed active duty and was just going from
Right.
duty station to duty station. And in my head, that's not, as much as I love the military, my main focus was physical
Right.
therapy, right? I want
Yep.
to help people. I
Yep.
don't, and if I stayed in active duty, the higher you rank, the less you kind of do your job that you signed up for,
Yeah.
in a sense. You just kind of turn into,
You're a supervisor.
yeah,
You're
a glorified babysitter
yeah.
and paper pusher.
You're
And
definitely a glorified babysitter.
yeah,
Definitely.
and as much as I loved my soldiers, leading them, teaching them, not even just in a physical therapy setting, but just being people,
Right.
because I had a couple before I left West Point, that were under me, and I loved that. Being able to shape someone else's mind, maybe give the information that I was given and how I was taught, that I knew it made a difference, and at least how I thought about physical therapy. So if I could pass that down like 100%, but I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd already reached E5 and E6. Then it's all right. You're just babysitter and paper pusher, and you're gonna sit at the hospital and be the NCOIC. And
Yep.
cool, it's cool to be the NCOIC, but
Yeah. As
I'm
you're.
not doing my
Yeah.
job.
I was about to say exactly that. You're almost dying inside because
Yeah,
you're not getting to do what you love to do.
yeah. And so that was a bigger factor. Not so much, just a prior relationship is why I got out, but
Well,
I
yeah.
didn't want to hate.
I'm just saying you went from New York to
Yeah. Oh
California.
yeah, 100%. And then I still missed it, the military side. So I think about a year into the IRR, I was like, you know what? I think a recruiter had reached out too, just to, kind of
I'm
like
sure they did.
ask. Yeah,
Oh
because
yeah.
they always do. So I was just asking, I was like, okay, well, what if I did go, out of the IRR to the reserves, just finish out those 3 years that I have left and, once a month.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. I get once a month. I can, go back to the camaraderie, the there's just a certain mindset, I think, in the military that we're
Right.
all familiar with.
Did you have to do this from your home state, or you did it from
Hmm.
California?
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
my unit was down in San Diego.
Okay.
I was with the 144th medical detachment. But that's not who I deployed with. So I was there, then COVID happened. So I think I was going in person. I think I'd maybe made it like 6 months or like half a year, and then COVID happened. So everything went virtual. And then this was probably, I moved back from, because I was there for about 2, 3 years in Oakland. move back to Jersey, and then I get a call maybe a month into living there from someone from the 811th out of Mississippi. And they're like, hey, this is Sergeant so and so. We're looking for 68 Foxtrots that, want to go on a mission to Kuwait. And I was like, in my head, in that moment, I knew I needed to not be where I was
Okay.
with who I was.
Right.
And it just wasn't working anymore.
Right.
Right. And so instead of like forcing it, and I knew this was a sign.
Mm-hmm.
And I had also like been through,
I was about to say this call couldn't have came at a better time.
no, it really couldn't, because that shaped everything moving forward. But it literally was a sign, because I had been thinking, this just isn't for me
Right.
anymore. And I said, I've been asking for a sign. I'd been trying to figure something out. Like, what do I do? And then I got that call, and I was like, this is it. Because that wasn't for me anymore. I needed to get out. And in my head, I was like, I'm going to say yes to every opportunity, whatever it is. And this was
Yeah.
maybe a week, couple days before I got the call, and I almost didn't even pick it up because it was like a weird number. It's like
Yeah.
like spam.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Not like today.
yeah,
Today
I
you
was like,
definitely don't answer calls.
Independence, Missouri.
I don't answer no calls. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like,
But yeah.
who the heck?
Right.
So I answer, because I was like, maybe it is someone from my unit, back, because I still
Mm-hmm.
was attached to the
144.
144th,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now in Jersey, so I'm like, okay, like maybe I need to pick it up. But she was, from Missouri, the 811th, and asking if I wanted to join on, looking for 68 Foxtrots, and I said yeah.
Exactly. Let's go.
Straight away,
Yeah.
it instantly.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
You
it.
didn't even hesitate.
No, I literally, I can tell you exactly what I was doing. So I lived in Edgewater, and I was on my patio, and I could see New York City. Like,
That sounds nice.
it really is great view. And it was in the morning, sitting on my patio, just because I had walked out to take the call because my ex was in there, and I was just like, well, I don't really know. As soon as I answered and it said Sergeant so and so, I walked out because I was like, I just don't know what this means. So I'm gonna go have this conversation. So I'm staring at New York City, and I'm like, yep, I'll go. And I think sorry, Mom, but I told my mom that they told me I had to go. But it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my mom to be scared, and I didn't want her to freak out. And I was going to say yes to every opportunity.
Right. I think I was talking to Dawson about that too. Is about taking opportunities when they come. Don't be afraid to take them. I mean, I'm not saying it might not work out. I'm not saying it's going to work out,
yeah.
but don't be afraid to take it. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. And it turned out to be probably the best thing. I like to say a lot of them turn out to be the best thing, but I think it happened when it should have,
Right.
I guess. Because I've made a lot of dumb decisions.
I made so many dumb. I still make dumb decisions.
Yeah, even though I say make good
unfortunately.
choices, and all that stuff, and I got that from my mom. I literally have that like tattooed. But she always asks me, "Well, do you?" And I'm like, "Well, sometimes, But it couldn't have happened at a better time, because I literally think left that relationship the next day. Like, I packed my stuff.
I'm
and
outta here.
Like, I got out.
Pop smoke.
Yeah, and thank God, right? I left, I was, like I said, maybe in Jersey for about a month and a half. And I knew it wasn't working there. That call came. I said yes. And I said, I'm going back home
Yeah.
because I only have a couple more months before I leave. So I'm going to go home. So I left that, drove. My best friend flew up, drove with me all the way back down to Texas. She's an awesome person for doing that. And then, I was here and left March 18th, 2021 for pre-mob and all that. And it was COVID times, so quarantine and Binax testing and I don't know how many swabs just up your nose. And
Yeah.
God, it was, if you're going to deploy, don't do it during COVID. Like, that was probably the worst experience of it. But other than that, the people, fantastic.
Yeah.
The officer that was in charge of us, she actually knew the officer at West Point who trained me.
Oh, wow.
So knew Colonel Goss. So that alone, as soon as I met her and we had that in common, it was just
Yeah.
it was right away. Like, okay,
It's like, yeah, I know what I got. I know.
yeah. And we had great physical
Yeah.
therapy techs with us. You know, we all had experience some sort of another. I think I was maybe one of the only ones that had the active duty behind on my belt, experience wise, but the other ones super knowledgeable, right? A lot of them were coaches even outside of just reserves, so they stayed somewhat around fitness, which is reserves. You know, the scary part is you're not really doing your job all the time,
Yeah.
especially if you're medical, right? I met some doctors that weren't really doctors on the outside, but they were for the army. And then you've got nurses who aren't nurses on the outside, but they're nurses. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the scary part. Sorry, everybody. But, you know, it was mind blowing to see Primo, and we're trying to pass, right, to get sent out to replace the hospital in Kuwait. And, it's just so funny because everybody's trying to figure out what their job was again. And in my head, as active duty, it's just like, what do you mean? Like, you know, like we're supposed to go replace a hospital, and some of y'all are trying to remember what your job was.
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to keep people alive.
Yeah.
But
holy.
yeah, and so, you know, that's kind of the hard part about reserves and going through pre-mob, and you got to pass as a hospital, and you got to be cohesive, and, you know, the clinic, you know, nobody really knows each other, and you have to somehow function together, make it work, learn everybody's personalities, live together, you know, like it's. And then COVID times, everybody's wearing a mask, and you can't do this and you can't do that, you can't have more than 5 people in a tent, and it's like, what in the world? So it's a very different experience, I think, pre-mob wise. But yeah, it was a whole thing just trying to get out to Kuwait. And, you know, prior, they were saying that a couple of us were going to go different forward missions. I just didn't know where until I think a week before we were leaving. Yeah, about a week before. And then they were like, oh, you're going to Prince Sultan Air Base. And I was like, with who?
Yeah.
Like, because I know
By
I'm
yourself.
going. Yeah. So at first I was like, okay, well, how many of us are going? And I think there was about 6 or so at first. But then, you know, things always change, right?
Yeah.
You're literally last minute. Big Army says no. We're only going to have so many here. So everything started to switch and float around, and some missions were not happening anymore. So I was going to get bummed because I was like, well, man, you know, if I don't go forward, like, you know, that's an opportunity missed. But whatever, like, I'm still going to Kuwait. Like, that's an experience already. And so my mission ended up staying intact. And so I went, and it was me and 3 nurses. So 2 were officers and 1 was enlisted. And they turned out to be like my best friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had family dinners, you know, because it was just us 4 in Saudi with people we've never met. We don't know anyone. I don't even know them, really.
Yeah.
Like, the only things I knew about them were that we ate the same chow hall. Like, my birthday was during pre-mob, so, you know, we're all together, and you can't really go anywhere, like I said, because it was COVID. So the word gets around fast if it's someone's birthday, right? Like, so there's like 200 of us total. Like, I think I got out all these random cards, and one of the girls that actually went with me, she was one of the ones that gave me the card, and we turned out, she's like, I call her my desert wife. Yeah, she's married for sure, she's straight for sure, but she's my desert wife. But like I said, we all became really close.
Is this during the time in Kuwait? Or is this when is this happening?
This so I left March 18th, and we didn't touch ground in Kuwait until April 31st.
Okay, so during this time though, you're getting to know each other. Where are y'all at?
Yeah, it's all pre-mob stuff. So it's real. We met up in Independence, Missouri.
Okay.
It was real dumb. They flew me from here to Independence to get on a bus to drive down to Fort Hood.
Oh.
Very Army. So we did that. Got to Fort Hood, and that was, you know, primo for about a couple weeks, 2 weeks there, I think. And then we got sent to Fort McCoy in Wisconsin. Freezing. Everything's cold there. Don't know why anyone lives there just normally, but it was super cold. And in my head, I'm like, we're preparing for the desert?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I'm wearing my marshmallows, like, but whatever. My snow boots, okay. It's 120 in Saudi or, even Kuwait, like, but sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds army wise. So I think we get into Kuwait April 31st or May 1st. But so we fly in, I think it was a total of 36 hours or something like that. By the time we actually get to Arif John, they leave us all at this like little depot looking area, and our bags, and everybody's standing there, and people are trying to figure out what are we doing next, and they're kind of like hurry up and wait type thing.
Yeah.
We knew, me and the other three that were going on forward missions, and all the other ones that were going forward, we were gonna go to Buring. So
Sounds familiar.
yeah, it's a little bit further than Arif John, but it's like pretty close. A little bit smaller, I guess, more not as modern with stuff.
Yeah.
Like Arif John's got green bean Dunkin',
Yeah.
5 gyms, a pool. Like they got a Chili's. Like,
Yeah.
so very modern. But we're sitting there waiting, and they're telling us, okay, like, you're gonna stay here. Everybody else, you're going to your housing. Like, and it's I think it's like midnight at that point there.
Oh shit.
And so it's late, it's dark, can't really see. I don't even know where the hell we are, right? Like, I'm still just like, okay, I'm not staying here, but now we got to wait for another bus. So everybody else is unloading into different vehicles to then go to housing, and they're just to set up because they're staying there at Arif John. And me and the 3 others, I think we were told our bus was coming at like 1 a.m. or like 1:30 or something like that. So it was about an hour and a half wait, maybe 2 at the most. So we're just sitting there twiddling our thumbs. Everybody else had left, right? They're going and getting settled in. And so we had to wait for a bus, got on a bus, and then it felt like 3 hours of a bus ride. Like, I fell asleep. I think I had my legs up, my head was back, I was out because of traveling and exhaustion. Like, you mainly couldn't sleep, so you're just up. So get into the bus, fall asleep in this little Scooby-Doo bus. There's a ghetto. Felt like that thing was gonna break down. But then they take you all the way to Buring, and it's like no one's really awake yet because it's still so early. I think it was like 5 a.m. when we pulled up. Like, the sun's barely starting to come up, and some of the early risers are out working out, but it's very much kind of like the morning quiet. So it's kind of peaceful. And I just remember, like, we get off and we're looking at where we're gonna stay, like, what are we living in until we go to Prince Sultan. And it's like this ghetto, massive tent, and it's just me and 2 other girls that are sleeping in it. And you could fit probably like 60 people in this tent. It's just like this long tent.
Yeah.
And it's just us 4 or us 3. And then, there's one male, so he had his own little, tent. And I think we were stuck there for about 2-3 days. So we were just kind of hanging out until we were going to get sent out to PSAB. And then we got stuck in Ali Al Salim for 3-4 days. No service, no nothing. We were in COVID camp is what it was called.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go and mingle with the bases.
You're traveling a lot in Qatar. I mean, in Kuwait, sorry.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing is, like, so we get to Arif John, then we gotta wait, and then we get on a bus, and we go to Buring, and we gotta wait, and then I'm there for a couple of days, and then we get on a bus and go to Ali Al Salim, and then we get stuck there because the flights are canceled left and right because there's a lot of stuff going on right in the airspace, and so we get stuck there. I want to say it was about 3 days. Felt like an eternity, and so we were supposed to report to our jobs and replace those others and meet them.
Yeah.
But we couldn't because we weren't able to overlap. So I never even met the 68 Foxtrot. He was Air Force, so I guess whatever MLS Air Force calls it. But
you got me.
I couldn't tell you. No, he was Army. Yeah, he was Army, which he saved his pillow for me. So that was the best part.
Oh.
But he ended up having to go. I just came in a couple days later. Really didn't have a handoff. It was just kind of like,
good luck.
Yeah. You get tossed in, and it was one physical therapist and one physical therapy assistant. I think we had about 3,200 to 3,500 kind of fluctuating total service members. So it was pretty busy.
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, they would try to mitigate certain injuries and whatnot. But we did a great job of, we implemented a preventative maintenance program. So I was teaching people body mechanics, proper warm up, proper cool down, nutrition, supplements, like anything that, because I had noticed over time, like a lot of people were, always injuring themselves on deployment. And, a lot of our patients when I first got there was always some sort of, because people aren't active, then they go to deployment and you have nothing else to do. And so they're super active and they hurt themselves. Right. So over time, I think I'd been there maybe about a month. We started doing classes. So it was a free class, like whoever could come in, we'd do it at the pavilion at this time and just come and learn info. We'll have a PowerPoint. We'll go over body mechanics. And so I did that and it got bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the 9 months that I was there. And I think at one point, I went and did a whole class with the Marines. So I had them like all doing, all spread out on the floor, trying, prone swimmers and dead bugs. And you're using cues that I had learned that worked well instead of just like, all right, you do it this way and that's what you should feel. So it's kind of more of an engaging class. And I think that really helped a lot of people. I got a lot of really good feedback. Some people, there's, don't really
you can't
care.
help everybody.
Yeah. And so those weren't the people I was trying to reach, and you can't, I'm not trying to fight hard-headed people. You can listen or not, or, we can have dialogue and think about it, or, if it's not right, or if there's some updated info, then sure, let's talk about it. Like, to tell me if it's wrong, but, I would try to do just the basics in the class for a lot of those people. Hey, don't just pop on 225 pounds and go for a bench press, because that actually happened. We had a guy pop his pec. He was only there a week and then got sent home.
He was bummed proper warm up.
Yeah.
Do some
but that and they
dynamic, active, and static stretching.
Yep. And we had so many injuries like that.
Yeah.
It was just left and right. And then, you saw some other stuff, but it was things that you could prevent.
Yeah.
And so that class, like I said, it kind of took off a little bit and helped a lot of people. And we would try and make our presence known just at the airstrip and work with the maintenance crew for the F-16 pilots and the F-16 pilots themselves.
That's cool.
We worked with the K-9 unit, EOD. Wow. So all the really cool sections.
Yeah.
I got to see only because their body mechanics were suffering from what they were doing.
Right.
And that sucks that, that's the only reason I got to see it. But we got to go and help people feel better. And in return, like, I learned what they would do for a job. And it taught me and made me understand why their body hurt.
Right.
Because
you get to ask the questions.
Yeah, but see it
and
too.
Yeah, see it and meet them and get their stories.
So, like, the F-16 pilots, you think about, like, oh, yeah, you're sitting in that pilot seat. Yeah, you're sitting there for 8+ hours.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was 8 full hours. Like, okay, you're sitting, no wonder your hips are messed up, your back hurts, your knees hurt, all these things are happening, your neck. And
people don't realize the sitting for long periods, how tight, correct me if I'm wrong, how tight your hip flexors and all that stuff get.
Oh yeah, hip flexors, your iliopsoas, like everything. And, so much was hurting them, right? And like, okay, what can we do? We've got all these different types of techniques, dry needling, myofascial release, like all these things. But like, I want to know why, like what's causing this. And until, like I said, we went out to the airstrip, saw what they were doing, looked at, the seat that they're in, like in the angle, their neck, the load, if they're fighting G's, like what they're doing while they're in it for eight hours. So I put into a lot of perspective what I'm working with. Right. And so just seeing that section, I couldn't say that EOD had the same experience. Very different injuries, like positioning wise. When we went to EOD, I got to play with the robots and stuff, so that was cool. I got to see the positives of, their stuff, got to do the cool things. But when they put on that suit, I think it's like 100 extra pounds.
Oh, Lord.
It's I put just the helmet on.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to crumble. Like, I literally looked at the PT and he was like, oh, holy crap, like this thing's heavy. And he was like holding it.
Yeah.
And so I just barely, I said, nope. But I mean, you know, a lot of men are in it, right?
Yeah.
They're big, but their bodies were suffering.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot. And they would come in all the time. And I mainly, you know, the more I was there and the more that I got to meet people or do these preventative maintenance classes, our presence was known as physical therapy. So we got more and more, you know, it got busy, but I was able to teach a lot of people just the basics or even just the small things that we do, you know, at Hickson. Like those are a lot of things that I was doing for service members back in Saudi or, you know, even just in active duty or, you know, IRR. But the exposure to so much and why, that's why my brain works the way it does. I think when I have clients here,
Yeah.
you know, like, well, why? Like I'm always asking why.
Yeah.
If you've probably noticed, like who, what, when, where, why,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it doesn't have to be not in a serious way, but those things help me understand. Okay, like how do I take you from this position of pain to getting you out? Like
Yeah.
what led to that? You know, so I overthink a lot in that sense, and it's because over time I've noticed it's not one instance
No.
of the body.
Right.
Like it's over time a repetitiveness, or maybe your job load is really wrecking your body
Yeah.
because of the positioning, right? Like I said, the pilots always came in with neck pain until I saw, like they told me about it, until you could actually see
Yeah.
the angle of that, you know, that cockpit, and knowing that their head, you know, is in a certain position, and then the load of the helmet. And, you know, like I said, if they're fighting G's on that takeoff or, you know, at any point, you know, how fast they're going, like then their neck straining, there's so much behind it. Right. And if I hadn't have asked who, what, when, where, and why for a lot of those things, I probably would have been picking the wrong exercises. It was a lot more trial and error than, you know, positive results. So, and that's the one thing that all those physical therapists at West Point really taught me: underliers, like what, you know, what's the cause?
Yeah.
Why? It's not wrong to question, right? Like, well, what'd you do prior? How long? What time? Because you'll find out more and more and more that you ask. And that's why I think why I always, you know, tell like you, Aiden, Riley, like, did you ask?
Yeah.
You know, because it really is like, it's just informational, right? The best way to get what you want to know is asking the
Yep.
person, right? And
Yep.
it's not being too nosy. It's in my head, like, that's going to help me understand why you feel the way you feel. And so, you know, so the whole deployment was phenomenal,
Yeah.
right? The physical therapists that I had, so I had two, and you know they were both Air Force because it was Prince Sultan Air Force Base. So we just went and helped the Air Force. A lot of other Army in there too. So a lot of those Army women that I was with didn't even know them. They were from Wisconsin unit, but some of my best friends, you know, like I don't talk to them every day anymore, but I know that if I called them, they'd be here tomorrow, you know, type thing. But all of, I guess, random choices and experiences definitely help what I
Yeah.
do now.
No, definitely. When we get to where you are now, before we do, my phone stuff's blowing up, so I'm gonna take a quick break, and then
I'm gonna use the restroom too.
yeah. He's like, yo, Jeremy will be there,
Yeah,
but yeah, he came early.
that's a whole hour. Because when I was leaving, one guy was saying he was gonna go in to sign up too.
Oh,
Brian, or you had a different one?
His name, the one I was supposed to do today was John. And I did exactly what I told you I did before. I kicked the damn stand.
Oh, did you
Yeah, so I kind of got to adjust it.
readjust?
Yeah. Just a tad bit. Well, that's good. That means I don't have to be in a rush to go. I was going to go to my daughter's softball game anyway.
Oh, they have one today.
Yeah. They go so long. They're so long. What?
Reset.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think I
if
got
you
it.
get too far away from it, the volume goes.
That's why I started to notice.
Yeah, you can pull it to you. You can pull the stand.
I think that should be pretty good there. Because I move a lot.
Yeah, it's fine. It makes it so that you're a real person and
And I'm like way over
not a
here.
robot. Just like
Oh yeah, I am never staying still. Was it restless leg syndrome?
I had to grab my phone because I actually sent out on Facebook to ask a question,
Mm-hmm.
ask a personal trainer a question.
Oh yeah.
We got one question,
Okay.
so
Oh God, I'm ready. This is fun.
we'll got one,
Okay,
but
I'll take it.
we'll talk about that in a little bit. I wanna start back. Your you're doing you're doing your tour.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in Saudi Arabia or Saudi?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Saudi
oh
Arabia.
wow.
Yeah.
So you're doing that, and you've worked with EOD, you work with pilots, you work with, and everyone in between.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say 3,800? You said on that.
Yeah, I think at the most we were up to 3,500 on base,
Yeah.
maybe a little less.
Okay.
I think 32, 35, somewhere around there.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Because you covered a lot.
Yeah, it's
But
as far as
well, I was gonna say like the transition from there to back to home station.
like what happened when I got home type thing,
Yeah, like so.
or I guess on the process back home.
Yeah, the process. Well, not so much the process, but like obviously you did how many months? It was almost a year, right?
Yeah, I got back home I think January 25th or 26th of 2022,
Okay.
and then left in March the year prior.
Yeah.
So almost a year. But a lot of that was, pre-mob. It was about a month and a half of just getting ready, making sure, we pass as a hospital
Right.
to go and replace the other unit. And so that was a lot of time built up there. But yeah, it was about 9 months, I guess, in Saudi. Went back to Kuwait right before New Year's. I
Yeah.
think a day before.
Okay.
So we spent New Year's in
So
Kuwait.
January, and this is 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're back in Kuwait.
Yep. So we got there. I think the day before New Year's or going into New Year's, and so we celebrated, in Kuwait, and I think it was a couple weeks later, 2 weeks later, we came home, and then the whole demob thing.
Yeah.
So going through that, and it was COVID time still, so it was a longer process. If you popped hot on your Binex, you stayed longer, but yeah, I got pretty much released. I think the 26th, and then took some time off. And then I think I found Hickson. Well, actually, I don't know if Hickson found me or if I found Hickson, to be honest.
Yeah, because this time before you left, you actually moved back to spend some time before.
But I lived in Palacios. Well, I was living in Palacios a little bit, and then I was living with one of my friends from college.
Oh, okay.
The one that, was...
Drove back with you?
Yeah, she was one of my best friends. So she has a place over in Converse.
Okay.
So I was living with her and
okay.
in her girlfriend at the time, her now wife. But
so you came back to the same area though then? Okay.
Yep.
And so you took time off and then you got on the job market? Like, what'd you get on, like LinkedIn, Indeed, or did you just...
I think it was Indeed.
Okay.
And I think it was so when I lived in Oakland, that gym, it wasn't like a corporate gym or anything like that. It was, like I said, it was kind of more of like a strength and conditioning style gym. We used a lot of kettlebells. It was a big group style. You could do big group, or you could do small group, or you could do one-on-one. And I kind of covered all.
Where was this?
In Oakland.
Okay, that's right. You did it. Yeah.
Yeah, Urban Fitness.
Yeah.
Cool place. Like, owner's great, hard worker. He built that thing from the ground up himself. So he's a hard worker. He'd sleep in the back office until he actually got that thing fully running. So, he's put everything into that place.
And I didn't ask you about that, and I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
When you was working there, had you already got your certification, your personal training certification?
Yeah, because before that, my first personal training job was at Crunch and I don't think it's there anymore, but it was at the Crunch on the Embarcadero in San Francisco.
Okay.
cool location.
Yeah.
Google was right above. So, a lot of people with wealth,
Yeah.
that needed trainers that, didn't really mind spending a good amount of money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not all of them should have probably been trainers.
Yeah.
And that taught me a lot as well,
Well,
what not to do.
we didn't even get to that. We didn't even discuss how'd you go about getting the certification. As far as like, granted, you had the education through school and army.
Yeah.
You had all. So did you complete it during your time in the army?
I think I got because I didn't get just the certified personal trainer right away.
Right.
I got the TSAC-F through the NSCA, which is the Tactical Strength and Conditioning Facilitator, which was good enough
Yeah.
at the time. And I even told him, I was like, well, okay, if I need more, I'll do it.
Right.
But it was recognized.
Right.
And so I had that. And then I ended up getting the CPT. So when I was in Saudi, I got my NASM, CPT, CES, and PES. So I did all three, I think, back to back, just so I could knock them out. I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I was working out, I was at work, and after that, I would just read the rest of the night to finish and get those certifications, which were kind of like refreshers at that point, because I'd already been doing training and physical therapy and knew at least what I thought, quite a bit of knowledge. So I just went and studied and took those. So I finished the, CPT, CES, and the PES in I think a month and a half or two. So I was just trying to get those done before I came home, because I knew I was going to come and find at least somewhere to work as a trainer or a coach.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said you think it was Indeed when you found.
Yeah.
Dixon?
Well, I think they found me.
Oh.
To be honest. And I think it was partially because I was living in Converse at this moment. And I knew New Braunfels wasn't too far, and that's where I think I don't know, unless I just misread it or something. But I think they reached out to me. I was going to visit California, all my friends and stuff in California, right after, or no. I went and interviewed at Lifetime, I think, or one of those. Didn't like it. And I already knew that. Like, like I said, I had worked at Crunch. I didn't like the big corporate style. Not to say there aren't great coaches in some corporate gyms. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that location did just didn't leave a good taste in your mouth, right? Like, of a place to work or want to continue to work for. So I think I was there for only like 7 months. And then I found Urban Fitness, and it was like a whole new perspective of group coaching or fitness. And, I had that competitive side because, I could have 2 people show up for my group, or I could have, I think the most I had at once was 36 people show up.
Moly.
And so that taught me a lot too, we'd start at 6 a.m. I'd do some classes throughout the morning or the midday or the evening, just kind of differentiated, but all different types of people. And that location, that coach, or, that taught me how to definitely multitask as a coach. Because that owner, I guess everybody gets a coaching cue, right? So if you're coming to my class and I didn't say something to you coaching wise, or, I didn't give you weights, or I didn't, give you like a touch, I guess, or, some sort of cue.
Yeah.
I didn't do my job. And that made sense to me, when he started saying it that way, it made sense, right? Like, even though I have 36 people in my class, it's my job to make sure at least everybody has had some sort of coaching cue, because not everybody's doing everything right. Right. But also, if you go to class and like they don't say anything to you, that's kind of weird, right? Like, maybe you're seeing me give cues to everybody else and say it's your first day and you didn't get that. Like, that's pretty disheartening, right? And so he really taught me, you definitely, pushing people to be uncomfortable in a good way, but also everyone should be getting coaching during your class, or even just in general, right? Like, but in your class, like, I shouldn't just go and like just do a workout and leave, right? Like I should feel like I got some sort of value.
Right.
And so I would always try to do that. Even on the day that I had those 36 people, it was a holiday, so it was a busy day. And it was kind of like you just show up for whatever class time. So we weren't expecting that. And I really had to think on the fly. And this taught me, like I said, the multitask, but also just quick. Like you got to be quick, right? Of variations or stations if you're doing stations. So that day we had 4 stations, and I knew could only have a certain amount of people in that station. So I had to think on the fly while I'm doing demo exercises of another station to fit 4 more people. And I'm now thinking, and I even was stressed. And now I'm thinking, okay, we had a structured program for the whole week. So I have to think of what we didn't do throughout this whole week.
Yeah.
Movement wise, so it's not repetitive. Because someone who goes every day, they're going to be like, we do these on Tuesdays, or we do this on Wednesdays. So in my head, I'm like, damn, now I got to think all the other movements we're doing this week, try not to mimic it, trying to still talk about the demos, trying to work people through stretches. Because in the beginning, I would run them through stretches and like chat and like, just start the class, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of getting to people to talk and mingle, and we're stretching at the same time dynamically. And so I'm trying to think the entire time while having conversations, while meeting new people. And I think I had probably like 5 new people that day that came as guests. So I'm trying to demo, think of exercises, make sure that this person's good. I know this person can't do this exercise, so now I have to change it. And so it really taught me a lot of like, you gotta be quick.
Yeah.
Like I can't just sit there and be like,
It's a lot going on.
Yeah. And it was 45, 50-minute class.
Yeah, it's a long class.
Yeah. And so, we did by stations, we did all this stuff, but even when it wasn't super busy like that, we still had to give a touch of coaching, right? Like, I'm not just going to show up my job's not to be a cheerleader. Like, yeah, I'm going to cheer you on, but there's a big difference between being a coach, right? And teaching body mechanics, teaching the why, right? Because I could just give people exercises and not tell them why, but most people aren't gonna do it fully or really understand.
Right. There's a difference between you seeing something or reading something and then having an actual coach explain why this is we do it or the way I want you to do it. And because what people don't understand when they're watching or reading or whatever is like what they can't see is what you see. You see their imperfections. You see their
it's so annoying.
Interior, posterior, or
you see people running out on the street.
Yeah.
I analyze it. It's a blessing and a curse. And I just when people walk in the gym.
Yeah.
It's awful because my brain is.
Guess who taught me that?
It's awful, but it makes a difference, right? Because if you say like, "Hey, are you feeling okay?" Like, I can notice something, and purely just because you see it, like that makes a world of a difference with my clients. Like, one of them where I'll notice if something's bugging her, she'll walk in, hasn't said a word, but I'm like, something just seems off. Like, are you feeling? Like, are your shoulders good or is something going on? And she just looks at me like, how do you know? But I've just analyzed for so long, and like I said, I overthink. And so it could be someone is walking past me and I could tell their hip hurts or their back hurts or their, they've probably had lack of range of motion at some point through their shoulders or traumatic injuries or some sort of, something as to why they're walking the way they are, they're running the way they are. Or even if they just say, just don't, everything kind of feels off. Okay, well.
Yeah. And then even people that don't know that there's something incorrect and they're always, I'm always getting this injury or this is always doesn't feel right or, and but I'm watching this or I'm reading this and I'm doing what they're saying. It's like, that's if a perfect alignment. You don't have that, and people don't know that.
Oh yeah, and I've had people, even just because we know, right, the little myofascial knots that we get sometimes in our traps. I've had people come to me and they're like, something's really wrong, and just terrified.
Yeah.
Right. And because, yeah, it can be super painful. And if you've never had that feeling or know what it is, it feels awful, right? Especially like super balled up, like you're
Yeah.
kind of just, you think the world's ending, right? Like everything's just hurting. And until like I'll do just some basic stuff because I know one myofascial release, right? Like too easy, right? So I've seen this 1,000 times. To them, it's new.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. They think my arm's gonna fall off, but I'll just do a couple things, and they're like, "Holy crap!" And then I'm a miracle worker. But it's like, no, I just, it took. Not that it took a long time to learn that part, but
Right.
like it took a long time for me to be able to compartmentalize everything, because a lot of people are like, well, how do you know that so fast, or how do you just know that to go to that?
Yeah. I think your ability, your experience, and your ability to diagnose something, to look at something, and be able to start pinpointing, the causes and stuff.
Definitely the physical therapist that taught me,
Yeah.
for sure. So I contribute a lot of my knowledge, like I said, to Colonel Goss. He was a game changer. Like, he advocated for me, being a young soldier, like at E4, and then even when I got E5 and stuff like that. But like, he was very soft spoken, very quiet. When he was talking, but like when he was mad, he was mad. And when he was mad, it was because he knew like either some potential was taken away from us, or like because he knew me and the other tech had so much potential. Like, he would fight for us for sure.
That's awesome.
Like, yeah. And I remember one day he he took the NCOIC into the conference room because the NCOIC messed up, didn't submit the paperwork on time for the tech to go to the training school. I believe it was, God, what was it? EFMB, the medical field badge.
Yeah.
He'd been training up for weeks. The NCOIC didn't submit the paperwork. And it's not because he was too busy.
Right.
It's not because he was doing all this fancy stuff himself. He just was kind of not the best. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him. Like, I felt really bad for the tech because he had worked so hard, and then that was like stripped away the night before going. Right? Because the guy the coordinator reached out and was like, hey, I don't have your paperwork.
Yeah.
Guess what? Well, Sergeant so-and-so didn't send it. So I remember that next morning, Colonel Goss, like I said, when he was mad, and I think 2-3 times I've probably ever seen him mad. I could hear him yelling through that door.
Damn.
And me and the other tech were just looking at each other like, we've never heard him like that. But it was, and at that point, like, there had been a couple mistakes from the NCOIC, like some mistakes, some like, hey, you knew better.
Yeah.
So at that point, like, he was done. So he was done. And I never heard him yell, ever. And that was probably the first and only time I ever heard him, and through a door.
Well,
but
I won't say good for him though.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
But that was the length that he was willing to go to make sure like we got the education, even just in AIT, but even when we were actually stationed there, right? Because in AIT we're still students. We're not technically in the big army yet, right? Like, we technically haven't passed until you finish all those 10 weeks of clinicals, and then until you graduate and you get your unit patch, like, you're still very much not within a unit. Right. You're not army yet.
Yep.
And so the whole time, any opportunity, and then even, like I said, I was able to go through air assault, right? Because he was advocating for us to be able to go do those things. If I even thought about airborne, and he was trying to look and see how I could. It didn't work out because it couldn't, right? But he was willing to make sure that we got the most of what we could. So I contribute a lot to, like I said, him, but all the other PTs, I was sitting there bugging them, probably sitting. I even had, I think it was when I was in Saudi, I had one of them reach out to me. He didn't know I was in Saudi, but he was trying to find me, and I guess he found my PSAB email and sent me a message and was like, hey, I didn't know you're still active duty, but do you want a job as a physical therapy assistant? And I thought that was cool because I
Yeah.
was like, dang, like 5 years later, maybe 3-4 years later, maybe, and I'm still, they thought about me to want to offer me a
Yeah.
job.
That's pretty
And
cool.
I thought that was pretty cool
Oh,
because I
yeah.
was just a student slash beginning back then.
Yeah.
So, in my head, I was like, a little bit more well versed in coaching and blending it with PT. So I thought I was a little bit smarter. And so to look back and be like, dang, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that he really thought I was smart. I don't know.
No, it was really cool.
Mm.
They have that. I mean, you obviously left an impact.
I always hope so.
So.
I mean, I hope so. But like I said, a lot of what I know is because of all
Right.
those PTs, and also just the other coaches that I'm around, because I learn daily, even just from Jake, Riley. Like, there's more that I pick up. Like, there's no way I could ever feel like I know everything. Maybe, when I was fresh out of college, like, yeah, I know my textbooks and I'm super smart. But now I think that's so humbling just to look back and be like, yeah, I was dumb. Like, that's dumb. The way I programmed, not that it was like injury prone or
Right.
whatever, but like, I know so much more now than what I did before when I thought I was like smart, it's eye opening.
Well, talk about how you got to Hickson.
Yeah.
This is where you are now.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah, I guess I, just came back from deployment, took some time off. I had an interview at another corporate gym, walked in. It was as expected for any corporate gym. Didn't really vibe with it, but I was like, well, this is the only option I have, because it's every corporate gym's everywhere, right? It's hard to find a boutique or
Right.
a private gym or, what I was looking for to be a bit more personalized,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
Very good word to use it. Personal.
Yeah, I'd suffered the big green weenie from the Army. Like, I'm not trying to go suffer it in corporate gym style, like, that's not, I knew what it would be and I'd hate it. And I didn't want to feel that way about fitness. So I went and did that interview, and I was going to California, I think a couple days after that. So I told him, hey, sure, yeah, I'll come do this. I think it was like a personal trainer sales manager or something like that. So it was mainly just selling stuff. And in my head, I was like, but I'm not working with people.
Right.
So I kind of knew that I don't think I was going to end up there. I was just going to wait for something else. So I waited, and I got reached out to, I think it was Jake. I honestly can't remember that far back, but it was Jake and another director of fitness at the moment. And I went in. It felt like a normal conversation. It didn't seem like weird, salesy, like at that other place. It was close to San Antonio, so at the other place, the guy's like, all right, yeah, like, let's see what you're made of. Like, go talk to 3 people out on the floor and see if you can get some names and numbers. And in my head, I'm like, okay, like, that's not new to me.
Yeah.
And to him, it was probably like a flex, like, oh, she's probably too scared to go talk to people like randomly on a gym floor. So I looked at him, I was like, okay. So stood up, walked out to the gym floor, and I got 5. And I took it back to him, and he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah. I was like, there's 3 guys standing all together. So I was like, work smarter, not harder. And he kind of laughed, and he was like, dang, like, okay, like, I'm not scared to talk to people. I can be shy, I can be quiet, I can be to myself, but I'm not, if it's about fitness, like,
I don't know that, Lacey.
No, not. And
I
like I,
don't
said,
know
the more,
shy
the more, yeah, the more I am in a gym, that's where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That's, if I were to go, some corporate gym, some, like something like that, or like, yeah, it'd be weird. It's just not my vibe. Not to say that that's, bad for whoever likes that, like 100%. It's just my coaching style technically doesn't work well with that kind.
Yeah.
Being, at Hickson, because it is a private facility, we are a bit more niche in the types of people I think we coach. Just being it that my specialty is physical therapy. Yeah, I do get a lot of clients that need corrective exercise,
Right.
or they literally come straight from physical therapy. And so I kind of get to keep the PT side of things because I'm very much doing PT based exercises. You know, I'm not prescribing, diagnosing, or
Right.
anything like that. And I'll tell people that, like, hey, I'm not a doctor of physical therapy. I'm just, you know, if you're released, I help you.
Yeah.
You know, if you need a physical therapist, I can work cohesively with them, right? Because I've done that. Like, they tell me what I can't do. I'm okay taking that, right? Like, if they
You can work within the confines of their
and I'm not gonna be butthurt about
right.
it. Like, I'm not gonna be like, well, this person says that they can't do that, like, I'm gonna show them.
Yeah.
Well, no. Like, that's no, because some coaches have that ego, and I've seen it, and it's scary, one for the client too. You know, like, once you hurt someone because you're not being careful, you lose all trust, right? It takes one person, right? And if you're not being conscious enough, if you're not really having their goals and interests and what they can't do range emotion wise, or even just physicality, like, you're gonna lose trust quickly, and word spreads, right? Like, so I've gained, you know, more and more clients over the years just because words spread that, you know, I do specialize in physical therapy based, you know, programming and building you from, you know, let's say you come straight out of PT all the way up to, if you want to lift heavy, let's do it. You know, like, I can help build you all the way up. You know, my specialty, sure, corrective exercise and, you know, maybe older clientele, but I very much can make you continue on, right? But a lot more recently of what I've noticed is people are hurt. It's like everybody's hurt, some sort of pain, injury, some sort of fashion, right?
Because I'm just talking for myself, and I was a victim of this ego lifting.
Oh, 100%.
And not.
Do you know how many arguments I've been in with people?
Not working out correctly.
The people that hate me are because I would advocate, like, the deadlifts, for example.
Yeah.
I've had some heated arguments about deadlifts, but guess what? I'm still going to advocate for them.
Yeah.
I'm still going to make my clients do it. Now, am I putting them under 300 pounds for the first time? No. Right? And that's where a lot of those people miss that, right? Because a lot of the men in the military, right? There's numerous ones. These are usually the ones I argue with. They don't build up properly. And they'll admit, well, I put on this much weight. Okay, well, did you warm up?
Yeah.
Did you do this? Did you build up to it? Have you ever done that weight before? You know, all these things, and then they get mad.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, no, I'm really just trying to show you how that wasn't the smartest way to go about it.
Your thought process about it was not the best. It could have been better. And that was me.
Oh, yeah.
That was me before I came into this, before I started interning. And my mindset changed since we're in April now. In January is when I started. In my mind, I've done like a 180 on everything. What I thought I knew.
Well, that's how you know, right? Because, like I said, you know, straight out of college, we're like, we read the textbooks, we know, right? I trained my best friend.
Yeah.
It's so different, right? And like I said, you look back at some of your prior programming or some of your prior thoughts, and I don't want to show no one. Show no one what, you know, my old program. And not that it was wrong or that, you know, it hurt someone, but like, there's so much more that I know now about, you know, proper warm-ups, cool downs, nutrition, recovery, you know, what supplements are worth it, what's not, what's, you know, just, like I said, just what's worth my time versus what's, you need to kind of filter out the bullshit, I guess, for lack of a better word.
So when you started at Hickson, you started as just as a coach. And then how
Start from the bottom.
Right. But I mean, you progressed pretty quickly.
Yeah, I got busy real quick.
I mean,
but it really
2022 to 2020 now 6.
Yeah.
So how'd you go from that to add on your additional duties now, which is now the director of fitness?
Yeah. When I started, I probably had like 1 or 2 clients, so I was really only like, you know, it was very slow, and that's how it is when you start in personal training or coaching. you're not handed 20 people, right? And then
Yeah.
you're not doing a full workload just yet in the beginning. So you have to very much work hard. You got to go talk to people. You
Mhm.
got to make it known that you're there. So whether it's unpaid, right? Like, so a lot of times I'd be there for hours on end, just meeting people,
Mhm.
working out. I'd maybe have like one or two sessions, and then over time, there's more and more. And I think I think I was at that point, I was really the only one that was kind of covering the middle of the day to the late evening. Because I'd probably come in around like 11 or 12. It was very much like way later, and then
Yeah.
I'd be up there till 8, 9 p.m. I had one
Oh.
client, I think, start at like 8 p.m. one time. So for a little bit, and so I was there pretty late. Spread out maybe one or two sessions, but I just over time, the word got out. Anyone that had injuries or pain or anything like that, and just in the Hickson, facility, like they would come and ask me questions. I would
Mhm.
sometimes do free sessions, right? Because sometimes you do gotta show your value before someone pays
Yeah.
the big money,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
get it.
Definitely.
Like, try it out before you buy it type thing. I'm not opposed to giving a free 30-minute or an hour session. And I still do that,
Yeah.
right? And like, even though, yeah, I have at this point, yeah, 12 plus years of experience, and yeah, my time is definitely worth some money. I'm not going to sit here and penny pick. If you're truly, if you really want to learn, and you know that you're in pain, and like you have questions, like I'm not opposed to helping people that are just members at the gym.
Yeah.
Like anytime I have a moment, like I tell people, like, yeah, come and ask.
I actually witnessed this myself
With
with you and you and Riley.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was having discomfort in his I think between the shoulder blades or
Oh, when we did the myofascial release.
yeah, and he ended up signing up, getting some coaching.
Yeah. Yeah, but that actually, that's the buy-in.
Yeah.
That's the okay, like they know what they're talking, and it is in a sense like you got to prove you can talk a big game, but you got
Right.
to prove that you can coach it,
Yeah.
have them understand it. Because I can put a program together and just be like, yeah, go do this.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a good coach,
Yeah.
right? Programming doesn't make you a good coach. Yelling at someone doesn't make you a good
Yeah.
coach. Making someone throw up doesn't make you a good coach, right? Like, sure, do we want it to be challenging? Yes. Do I want to break them? No. Do I want them to come back?
Hmm.
Yes. Do I want them to learn? Yes, right? But if I break them off just because I want to prove I'm a
Yeah.
tough coach, like, the chances are they're probably not going to stay, right? But and even at that, like, so even if they're not no injuries, but my goal is not to break someone
Right.
off, right? Like, I'm not here. Yeah, I want it to be challenging, but I've made grown men sweat with a mini band laying on the floor,
Yeah.
right? Like, it ain't gonna take much for me to know how to pick deceiving exercises, right? And that's it. Like, and those things are with a purpose, though. Like, I'm not just like, all right, burpees till you throw up, right? I kid you not. I will not willingly program these crazy dumb movements for people.
Right.
Like, out of all the clients that you've seen me work with,
Hmm.
not one of them was scheduled to do crazy sprints, like these random burpee box jump over the bar things, all these weird flashy exercises. No.
Yeah.
My clients have achieved success losing weight or getting out of pain all by just simply doing the basics. And then, with a lot of physical therapy backed evidence exercise, evidence-based
Hmm.
exercises. So I'm selective, but I don't, yeah, I'm not trying to.
Yeah. I was just going to say that I don't know if people understand or they may not know that the exercises that you program for individuals, those are specialized programs
Mm.
for that individual.
Mm-hmm.
You're not.
Oh,
It's
every
not
single
cookie
one.
cutters.
Yeah. No, every single one. And I think a lot of people do think that.
I
Because
do
I
too.
have a lot of
I do
people
too.
come in and they like, oh, well, what kind of programming? Well,
Well, yeah, I don't know
'cause
who
it's,
you are.
yeah. And, I tell them, like, we're very much personalized. Like, it is. you will not see the same, thing. And if you do, it's probably because maybe you and the other person are pretty similar, but
Yeah.
you're not going to see copy paste. You're
Right.
going to see maybe some similar things, but switching, because I know this person's range of motion on this side's different, so that doesn't work. So it would be even harder for me, and I would probably be fighting myself if I gave everybody the same program,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't work for everyone that way.
Exactly.
And that's where a lot of people, they'll do these online fitness influencer coaches or whatnot, and it's all cookie cutter based stuff. And it's
I was gonna bring some of that stuff up.
yeah, that's a whole topic.
It is a whole nother topic, and we might have to.
We'll do a second part.
There will be a second part.
We'll do a
Absolutely.
myth busting one.
But since we're already on the questions, I did put out asking questions on Facebook, and I got one.
Okay.
It's from my aunt,
Okay.
but it's a good question.
I'll take it.
So forgive me for pulling my phone up. Look at my phone.
No, yeah. Let's hear it. Auntie.
So here's the question, and actually, she got a second nomination
Okay.
for this question. So it's two people wanting to know the same question.
Gotta be an interesting one.
What is the best exercise program, i.e., yoga, Pilates, chair, floor, etc., for a senior 60 plus? How important is stretching daily? So it's like two questions in one.
So best program. That's hard to say, right? Just because let's say she gave an age range.
60 plus.
Yeah, and so it's super complex, right? Because I have multiple clients that span, from 60 all the way up till 80. I think my oldest is 80 at the moment. And they're all different.
Yeah.
Right. One very much shouldn't be doing a lot of, traditional weightlifting and stuff like that at this moment, just because of all the previous injuries that he's had. So his is very much different, right? Like I had to start him, and you've probably seen him, my taller, older man. I'm scared to let him walk by himself,
Wow.
And so then I have someone who's a year younger than him, or older than him, actually. One of those, but pretty close in age. And the other guy's cable pulling, pushing, machines, free weights, body weight, full range of motion. So it's hard to say what's the best program, but let's say to answer the question, if we're no injuries, if we're not, fighting anything, battling anything.
I can tell you a little bit about her.
Okay.
They do a lot of hiking.
Okay.
They
so
do
she's
a lot
active.
of biking. Yeah,
Okay.
she's very active.
Mm-hmm.
So take that with
Okay.
whatever you
So
want.
now that I know that she's active in that sense, cardio wise, like her cardiovascular health is definitely on point, right? Biking, hiking, walking, all that. What that would tell me is that she probably lacks in maybe muscle mass. Not to say I can't,
Right.
Speculate, but a lot of times when someone's very heavy on the cardio side, they usually can fall within lacking the resistance training side, right? Because most people will gravitate towards fully one or the other. But let's say that she's fully immersed into the cardio side of things.
I would say so. Yeah.
Then I would definitely, in my head, think about, okay, what's the lean mass like that she currently has? Is she currently doing resistance training? And if not, machines I wouldn't say are the best thing, but if she hasn't done free weights before, if she hasn't touched a barbell, dumbbells, kettlebells, machines, perfect place to start, right? And then build up from there, right? So almost thinking like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, so it kind of depends where we're at. But, let's say she's very much so cardio style, never really touched weights. Machines would probably be the best way to go, just so that she doesn't hurt herself in the process of getting to know weight training, if that makes sense, right? Because it can be very different for someone to go skipping machine style, because you definitely get forced form because it's a fixed
correct
machine. Now free weights, they're all over the place,
Yeah.
right? And so as much as machines aren't the best muscle building, they do have a time and a place. And so I would say probably starting maybe there and then building up to the next phase, which would be free weights, right? And then after free weights, probably kettlebells, because those are a little bit more maneuverable.
Yeah.
And then kettlebells, maybe to barbells style, right? But it really does depend. So I can't say that there is a best program.
I got you.
But I could say, based off of what you've told me and what she's doing currently, that start at machines, get familiar with those, right? Proper technique, form. Yeah, very much the machines do a fixed position for you, so you're not really, having that coordination fight just yet.
And you're not again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not your body's not trying to do its core is what I'm trying to say. It's like stabilization, but I want to say core.
Yeah. It does the job for you.
Yeah,
it kind of does the job for you. And so that's why I kind of like take it with a grain of salt some machines, because some people will live or die by machines, and I get it.
Yeah.
They don't want to injure themselves, right? And plus you can control the weight a little bit more because of that fixed position. But yeah, and then I think there was a second part.
Yeah, so how important is stretching?
Oh yeah, the most important. The most important, dynamically and static, right? Especially prior to and after working out. But even let's say if you're not even doing a workout that day, 100%. Everybody always hates when I say to stretch because it's one of those tedious things. It's annoying. But
again,
your
a
body,
thing, something I had to learn and change my mind on.
Oh yeah,
and
it's monotonous. It's boring. Nobody wants to hold a
unless
stretch.
you do a stretch with Lacey. And I can promise you, it's not boring.
It's
and
really
it's very
not.
active.
Yeah, and the dynamic, because I love dynamic stretching.
I did too.
But we're meant to move, right? So I love dynamic movements because we're fluid, right? We're meant to bend, side bend, our body's meant to do all these, strange movable things. Now loaded is different, but our body's meant to do side to side, lean back, lean forward. So
yeah,
we should do that every day, right? And especially let's say, she's super sedentary or, doesn't do a lot of activity. Let's say she was a couch potato. That's even more important, right? The less activity that you do, the more important stretching is. But even, it's kind of right, kind of wrong, because even the more that you move, same thing, it's even more important. So I kind of maybe take that back a little bit, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Both, and even in the middle, both. If you're super sedentary, it's super important. If you're super active, it's super important. If you're in the middle, it's super important, right? Then it truly is. I think people are mind blown because the majority of my clients, I will hammer home dynamic movements with either, dynamic stretching or, warm-ups that activate certain muscles and areas and stuff like that. But I hammer home on dynamics, range of motion, because if you don't have certain range of motion, I can't do what I want. Right. I'm either going to hurt you or I just can't do what I want to do because we don't have that range of motion.
Right.
So I have to work you in certain areas to be able to get to that point before we can even go and do, let's say a barbell back squat.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing, like, where people, they'll get hurt a lot and because they went and did like a group class of 30 snatches overhead. Okay, well, have you done 30 snatches overhead before? No.
Yeah.
Have you done a snatch before? No. Have you done a group class like that? No.
I was going to pick it up today.
But I swear to God, that's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people and they'll come to me and it's just, well, I did this. And it's like, okay, did we think about it before we did it? It sounded like a good idea. I get it. And then especially when people get into fitness, they want to go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
100%. They think that you have to go 100% when you start. No.
Yeah.
My most successful clients were the slow trajectory.
Yeah.
right? Taking piece by piece, whether it was the nutrition or the resistance training or everything at once, right? Like it wasn't too much information overload. They're not overwhelming themselves with so much. And primarily because I tell them not to,
Yeah.
because I know, after these 12 plus years of coaching people, I know what they're already thinking when they come in. They're already overwhelmed. They're nervous. They don't want me to judge them because they think I'm judging what they eat, what they do. And no, I'm not. I have pizza.
Yeah.
I have a beer. I have, my crappy days. I have days where I'm like, I'm not doing my workout. Like,
Yeah.
100%. I'm human too. I even had someone ask me if I still get sore, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I'm always sore.
And that's the thing in my head. I'm like, dang, like people really do be thinking like that. Like they think that I'm just like that good. I mean, I'd love to be, but it's funny when people
Yeah.
start to think of me as being I don't know, unbreakable, sort of.
That's a good word.
But it's like, hell no. I very much given to pizza, tacos, cheese dip, all that stuff,
Yeah.
a donut, a kolache, balance, hello. But I also tell them, like, I don't want you to be scared to tell me what you ate. I don't want you to be scared to tell me that you didn't come in and work out.
Right.
If anything, I'd rather you tell me you didn't because you had a really bad mental health day and you decided to go for a walk instead.
Yeah.
I'd rather you do that. And I'll tell them, like, don't feel like you did something wrong because maybe you missed a workout, but you chose to go do something that made you feel better mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I think also that, that helps my clients too. That's why a majority of them have probably stayed, is we're moving through things understandingly and not forcefully.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Speaking on like some of those things, I mean, we could talk days on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like, what are some things that people think they fail at? Meaning, they jump into it and they're not seeing results, and they give up or whatever. But what is the misconception? I guess I'm trying to ask is, what is the misconception about starting a health journey that you've heard?
That the workouts are going to be the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's the nutrition.
It's the nutrition, yeah.
And I, for men and women, right? Majority of the time, women take a little bit longer to fully understand and immerse themselves in, we need protein, we need a certain amount of carbs, we need a certain amount of fats. Because a lot of people are scared of carbs and fats.
And what do they want to do?
Not eat.
Exactly.
But in every single, because we have that body scanner,
Mm-hmm.
that's me looking at them when it doesn't come back right. And I'm like, okay, tell me what happened. And not in a way of like, let me judge you, right? It's like, but did we listen? Did we heard me saying, let's aim for 130 grams of protein.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
You thought not having a meal was going to be better. Yep. Even though we have that conversation, I sit there. Sometimes it has to be repetitive because they won't pick it up.
Yeah.
Or they won't want to because they're scared to eat. Because people have made it a thing of, oh, well, don't have carbs, don't have fats, don't have too much protein because you'll look bulky. Well, guess what? I've been trying to have a lot of protein since I was little, and I'm still not. I'm still not, right? You would have to do so much. So I'm like, at some point, yeah, I'm kind of tired of hearing women like, I just don't have too much protein. Well, give it to me.
Yeah.
Let me have it.
We can do a whole podcast on misconceptions.
Dude, every day. And it's hard because, when I do have those conversations with women that come in, it's like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have that much carbs. Or, so I heard about this diet and it said not to have carbs. And I'm like, get away from me. We're not going to, that's not how I roll. If you're going to work with me, you're having carbs, you're having fats, and you're having protein. Now, are we having a certain parameter? Yeah. Yep. Right? But it's my job to teach you correctly.
Yes.
That you do need those things.
Yes.
So, the whole keto thing, time and place for certain people.
Exactly.
Not for everyone, right? carnivore diet, time and place for certain people, not for everyone, right? But what we do know is that the basics work.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And when you do it correctly, results will come. And after the first month or two, when people, because the first month or two, people's results are, they're all over the place. They freak out, they get sad, they're discouraged. But when I start asking those underlying questions, okay, well, if we look at our food tracker, you're skipping a meal.
Yeah.
Protein's half of what we really need. And you know this will be the result because I sat here and we've talked about it. And, you know, sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other.
Yep.
And that's, you know, until they start to see it.
Exactly.
Then they're like, oh.
That's what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
When they see it, you know, when you show it to them, you break
people,
it down.
Yeah, I'll tell people, your first scan is going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Because it's trial and error too, right? Like you're still trying to get used to the gym. You're still trying to get used to the app. You're still trying to get used to a routine.
Yep.
Like, of course it's going to be, you know, here and there. So the second month is always like, oh yeah. Like, because they knew their nutrition wasn't on point the first month.
Right.
So guess what? They clocked in. They got it right.
Yep.
Right. Now their protein's up, their carbs are where they should, and their fats are where they should be.
And the great thing about tracking is that you're not limiting yourself to, you know, the food you eat.
Yeah.
Now,
but if you do it right, you can eat a lot of food.
Yeah, exactly. And you're eating damn near anything you want, you know, healthy. You're still doing healthy choices now.
Yeah, because, you know, we have to be very careful. We're not nutritionists.
Exactly.
We're not dietitians.
Exactly.
And I'll like we say that every single time. But what I do know is that basics work, and you have to have a certain amount of X, Y, and Z.
We know what the proper amount of macros your macros are hitting. We know what it will do for you if you do it right.
We know enough to guide someone with just the basics.
Right.
And, you know, I'll still tell people, because there are some people that need a bit more in depth, like, hey, that's something that's out of my scope. You know, I can get an answer for you, but I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. I know when my scope ends and when it's someone else's turn.
Correct.
And just like clients that I have now, I have one, you know, he's battling some elbow pain. I know when my scope ends and when it's like, okay, I think you should go get it checked out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, at no point should I be diagnosing or, you know, telling people they have to do a certain thing. You know what I mean? Like, I got to be very careful. But at the same time, what I do know is everything that I've seen and worked with and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's a little bit different, but for the most part.
Yeah. No, this has been great. I mean, we covered a lot.
100%. I know. That's why I was like, we might have to do a part 2.
There will, yeah. I would love to have you back and do a part 2 for sure, because I feel like there's so much more we can get into.
Probably.
Yeah.
It was a long story. That's why I was like, mine's all over.
It's good. It's good.
And I still missed probably about 50% of it.
It's all right.
That's what I was like, I'm going to pick the most important pieces.
Whenever you have time, you know, in your busy schedule, then we can make it, you know, happen.
It'll work.
But thank you for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of good conversation.
I just want to let everybody know, no matter what you're going through in life, no matter how much life feels like it's going wrong, drink water.
Yep. Drive on. It was like,
Yo, kid. Woke up tired. Woke up tired, still I gotta get it. Same routine, but I'm staying committed. World feel heavy and it's weighing on my chest, but I learned real early, ain't no time to rest. Bills stack up, pressure don't fold. Tryna stay solid while the world turns cold. Smiles on faces, but you don't know the pain. Everybody fighting, just don't show the strength. Some days it feel like nothing's changing. Still I move, no hesitating. Even when the road feel long, I remind myself, just drive on. Been through the pressure, still standing strong. keep moving on. Came from the struggle, we built it up. No matter the weight, we carry it on. Drink water, drive on. Long days, late nights, still pushing through. Doubting myself, but I stick to the truth. Ain't where I want, but I'm not where I was. Every step forward, yeah, still count as love. Like some people had to learn and grow. Some bridges burned just to light your road. Hard times came, I ain't fold, I adapted. Turned all the pressure into something I crafted.